There was only one ship. One. Are you sure? Yes. They call it Patience of Love. Why was it not destroyed with the rest of their fleet? They fled as we sent fire to the planet. But I followed with all the ships in my command. When you first saw Naruto, were you blinded by its majesty? Blinded? Paralyzed? Dumbstruck? No! Yet the shippers were able to evade your army, landed on the sacred series, and desecrated with their filthy mind thoughts. Noble Hyrox, surely you understand that once the fandom attacked, you were right to focus your attention on Hinata. But this demon, this Naruhina, by the time I learned the demon's intent, there was nothing I could do. Yet you are one of our most treasured instruments. But your inability to safeguard Naruto was a colossal failure. Nay, it was heresy. But I will continue my campaign against the shippers. No, you will not. Soon the great journey shall begin. And when it does, you shall be left behind. If no one's able to get that intro, go do yourself a history lesson. My God, go do yourself a history lesson. Jeez. But, okay, intro aside. Hey guys, what's up? Lucky Cheese 7 is back again to give you guys another Naruto anniversary podcast. It's like, you did one last year. What's so different about this one? I'll get to that. And I know it's kind of surprising. Well, alright, so it's been 20 years since Naruto debuted, and 5 years since it ended. Shocker, right? But at the same time, you gotta ask yourself, alright, so that's the occasion, and are you doing it by yourself? Y'all should know me by now. Y'all should know me. Why would I do that? Why? Because it'd be like every other YouTuber where, you know, I could just be talking about a series, but instead of talking about it with myself, I can talk about it with a buddy or a friend. It's not just one buddy this time. It's not just 2 or 3. It's 4. Now, 3 of these you recognize. One of them, saving him for last, for obvious reasons. So, without further ado, I have brought with me, of course, my 4 special friends, special guests. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
BlueStarSaber here, once again to join Lucky Chi on another podcast.
That was a very short intro.
Well, they probably already know me by now, but anyway, so
well,
yeah.
Whatever. Hey, it's me, Sparda3g. And yeah, I guess I'm done too, because everybody wants to cut it short. But let the other 2 guests introduce themselves now.
Hello, everyone. Here is the co-hostess with the shortest, mostest, LKNMJH, also known as Steve. Odd enough, this is only the second time I'm talking about Naruto-related things on this channel here. Funny how that always seems to be Lucky Chi's way of bringing me into the fold. Hey, Steve, you want to talk about Naruto? Sure, anytime. But standing to my left here is a very, very special individual. The man who, without him, none of us would even be here today.
The original podcast host.
Oh, that me, right?
Yeah, that's you, yeah.
Hello, everyone. JamesSCassidy here, and tonight I am not the host of this podcast. But my fellow friends here have gathered the Infinity Stones and brought me back from dust.
We were also going to have Chat here tonight, but unfortunately she couldn't make it.
Yeah, unfortunately Chat wasn't able to make it due to being heavily involved with the friend's wedding. And knowing about weddings, they're a handful. I'm just going to say that right now, they're a handful.
I promise I wore deodorant this time.
Let's see. I have a wedding I have to go to next year, but we're not going to talk about that.
But fortunately, For Life did his usual MO and was late as always.
No surprise.
See, every time For Life, every time we talk about let's see, Naruto, and you're late.
Well, I was actually here earlier. It just I had to do other things because tomorrow should be a pretty fun one, but that's a personal thing. So yeah, I guess still my bad.
Bus driver, I've come to bargain. I don't know. I got Avengers on the brain today for some reason.
But because it's the greatest superhero movie of all time.
Which one?
Last time on the Naruto podcast.
What are you talking about, Blue Star? We got two heroes.
What do you mean, Hero Rising?
Hero Rising, yeah, something like that. Real comic book movie right there.
No.
But anyway, let's see, we're getting off topic here. Anyway, we're here to discuss, let's see, a new Naruto topic for the anniversary.
Yep. And I had to like really sit down and think about this one because I was like, all right, so how do I do this podcast without making it feel like it was the same thing from last time? And I haven't really seen a lot of people bring this topic up into occasion, like just specifically delving into the story, not just Naruto as a whole, but between the two parts, between part 1 and part 2. So I thought it'd be fun to bring that topic into account. And also, I just wanted to say this before we continue forward. Without James, you wouldn't have me doing any of my other podcasts, whether it was Manga Wars, whether it was My Hero, Black Clover, Tokyo, which is now done, but it's thanks to this guy. Had I not joined this guy back in 2013, none of this would have happened.
Quit flattering me. It's cheap.
It's true, though. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
This Naruto podcast is bringing us all together. God,
Yeah, those were the
6
days.
years.
Yeah.
Crazy,
Time
yeah.
really does fly by.
Oh, yes. We were so young and hopeful back then. Oh,
So full of life.
How did we know? None of us could have expected Naruto to let us down as it did.
We will get
Yeah.
there at a given point.
If you're all wondering where I've been, well, it's a long story. We'll get to that some other time.
We will. Given that at the podcast, you all know I have a usual structure that goes on with this. So
I don't. This is the first time here.
yeah, it's James' first time here, so I'll lay that in details.
Be
So to get
gentle.
to part 1 versus part 2, of course, it's going to be not the podcast itself will be split, but it'll be topic 1 will be part 1, strengths, weaknesses, story, setup, conflict, climax, resolution, things to improve in part 1 or remove, and then part 2 is the same thing. And then you get the overall perspective, art, fights, themes, heroes, perspective on the author, which I'm sure we all have our opinions on, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Strongest traits and room for improvement and closing thoughts. And that is basically the structure of this particular podcast. And y'all can kind of see that it's more story-based. So, yeah, that's where we're going to start off with. And also, just to let y'all know, because it's kind of a reunion of the original 5, I'm going to pay homage to that. So instead of the usual run of like, all right, one person just speaks at a time, there's an open discussion. We're going to let this podcast be the open discussion because that's how we all met. We all met through James doing the Naruto podcast and being like a big open discussion. So I thought, let's pay homage to that. Let's pay homage to that with this one. That being said, part 1, strengths and weaknesses. The setup.
Okay. The setup is pretty much, let's see, the very first chapter introduces us to a boy.
No summaries, cursed child. No. Bad.
All right.
Reading off Wikipedia.
I'm not reading Wikipedia.
Sure you aren't.
No.
Here's
I'm not.
you want the setup? Here's the setup.
Let's see.
We got a 12-year-old kid who, for the first 12 years of his life, has always been ostracized by his community. And he's never known why, until one fateful night where he tries to pass...
and the
his
Fire
graduation.
Nation attacked. And when the world needed him the most, he disappeared. Oh, wait, sorry, wrong story. That was actually a better one.
Yeah, right. Till one fateful night, he, in an attempt to graduate from Ninja Academy, he learns the horrible, horrible truth. Sealed within him is a demon known as the Nine-Tailed Fox. How did this fox come to be? Well, we actually won't find that out till very later into the story. All you need to know is this thing inside him is basically what makes Naruto the main character.
Believe it.
And that verbal tick of his too.
Or in Japanese, Datibio or something.
If only I could find a way to play the German opening right now.
Oh my god.
They really put that catchphrase into the mat. Believe it. Oh.
We are fighting dreamers, reaching
That's a
high
four.
for the sky. I'm fighting dreamers.
As far as conflict's concerned, well, take your pick. There's tons of conflicts in part one.
It started off with debatably not so memorable first opening song, because they never played that song for the last episode or anything like that. It's like, yeah, that song's kind of
You mean the one that has "Come on"?
Yeah, where Naruto has to do two takes on the face reaction. Not
It
joking.
was pretty
You can see
catchy, though. I will say that opening was pretty catchy for what it was.
It's a good opening. It's just like if you want to use that for your hype, it won't work at all. It's like, we're gonna be Haku. Oh, Moro, oh no, he. You know, it just sounds so slow. You know, it's not like.
I have to be honest, it has perhaps the most flexible animation of all the Naruto openings. I don't think there's a single stiff shot in it.
I mean, it was the very first one, though.
Oh, yeah.
It is
Not to
the very
mention
first
it only
one.
had 4 characters in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it started off with 4 characters and then they bloated to many characters.
Whatever
and
it
then
was.
You just realize these characters don't mean crap anymore. So you go back to 3, then you subtract to 1, then you go to 2, and you're forever stuck with 2. But that's Naruto in a nutshell.
Well, whatever your opinion of the song, it seemed that in America, we decided to change it to a 30-second intro. Rise! Suya-san!
I remember that.
Go! Rise!
Rise!
So anyway, you had that for 2 seasons.
And that ended up being used as the first 2 intros, actually. With the second intro just changing up the visuals.
Oh yeah, and then you had the second Japanese opening as the third Japanese opening.
As the third American opening.
Third American opening, yeah.
It's basically just the opening of the story of basically a hyperactive, knuckleheaded ninja going through everyday life as being a ninja.
Let's see. And during the course of the first volume, he meets his fanboy Konohamaru, who is the grandson of the third Hokage, which is the goal that Naruto aims to be, the Hokage.
And his future boyfriend, best friend buddy, Sasuke.
Yeah, let's see
It's not Sasuke, it's Sasuke.
Where he's introduced to a team of, where he's grouped into a team of 3 with 2 of his other classmates. Let's see, the number 1 most popular student, Sasuke Uchiha, and his crush, Sakura Hanaro. Let's see, a normal girl who got a chance to be a Kunoichi. Let's see. Yeah. Do you want to continue on?
Normal compared to the other 2 guys, anyway.
Well, yeah.
She doesn't have a tragic backstory.
Yeah, no tragic.
But again, we don't find out about their tragic backstories till much later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about something a little bit interesting that I noticed about the beginning of the story?
What?
Yeah.
So, when this story first started, we are introduced to Naruto Uzumaki taking the test for the finalization for him to be, what was it, Genin, right?
Yeah, Genin.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the story, it talks about that he's taken this test like twice already, and this is his 3rd attempt, and he fails it. Chronologically speaking, this kind of makes it a little bit weird, because supposedly Naruto is about the same age as Sakura and Sasuke by maybe a few months difference.
Older.
I believe, let's see, in Japanese calendar, Sakura is the oldest, while Naruto is the youngest.
Yeah. But it's like, if he's taken this test 3 times already, and not knowing really how this is all set up, because we don't really know how often these tests are taken. Is it once per year, once every 6 months, once every 3 months? But we just know that Naruto has taken this test. This is his 3rd time taking it in the beginning of the story, and he fails it. and yet for everyone else, it's the first time they taken it. Does anybody find that one weird?
No, it seems like Kishimoto did not plan this out as well as we all thought.
I mean,
Ninja School, how does it work?
That's one I wanted to bring up because I remember, like, even when I first got into the series, like, I thought, well, okay, if it's been 3 years, if he's taken it 3 times, like, is it yearly? Is it bi-monthly? Like, what's the process behind that? And
Naruto is a secret genius because he's already like, and just to clarify for the people listening to us right now, in order to get to the test, which is the clone, not a shadow clone test, it was just to make one single clone. The shadow clone was the forbidden technique, and there is a difference between a shadow clone and a regular clone. There is a massive difference, but you can look into the lore and backgrounds of all that. But I just want to make this perfectly clear. The only way that Naruto could have gotten to this point is he had to pass all the written tests and all the other tests that he had to get to. It was only this test that he failed that prevented him from succeeding. And I'm not saying this as something as a conjecture. This is actual what the story says.
I'm reminded of the MST3K mantra. It's just a show, so just relax.
So either Naruto is the smartest person in class, or he's luckiest, or he's the dumbest that just so happened to, like, cheat. I don't know.
Considering how the anime likes to play up his luckiness, I'm gonna assume he's just lucky.
Let's see, but if that's confusing, wait till we get to all the other characters with see time at the academy.
Yeah, right.
But
you know the weird thing is if they were to follow the logic from the last Naruto the movie, it would have been more reasonable in terms of like how he got to that point that he could learn Shadow Clone. Like, yeah, that is a powerful technique. That is true. But if you don't establish that as a powerful technique in the first place, and let
For
Naruto
we do not talk about that movie.
Well, I'm just saying. Logically, I'm just saying.
That's another discussion.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll skip that.
No, continue with your thoughts. It's just the last is. We'll get to this when we discuss part 2. But so you're aware, our thoughts on the last are just.
It's the worst romantic movie I've ever seen.
No. Our thoughts on the last is it completely rewrote from the ground up how Naruto as a character is supposed to be.
pretty much.
Think of it as the equivalent of Spider-Man's One More Day.
But worse.
Best comic hero?
Yes,
I've already said this to Blue Star so many times, but I'd rather read One More Day one more time than see Naruto the Last. Than 1 second of Naruto the Last.
But yeah.
That's how much he hates it.
That's how much we all hate it. So continuing with our setup here.
Yeah. Let's see.
Once he's assigned to his other 2 teammates, he gets assigned to the sensei, Kakashi, who, by the way, was also a student of the 4th Hokage. But again, you don't find that out till much later.
I believe, let's see.
Arguably the best character in the team.
Yeah. Master of 1,000 jutsus, only get the C7.
Yeah.
Let's see, not to mention he seems to be a bit of a terrible teacher.
On the surface.
Okay.
Because as he likes to preach, your eyes can... Well, now I'm thinking of Yoda when I was about to say that. But a ninja must see through deception. If you want to go by the manga, it's... You must look underneath the underneath.
Or repeat, you must look beyond what you see.
Kakashi Hitake. I don't always let my friends die, but when I do, I make sure I kill them myself. Oh, sorry, we're not at that point yet. Spoilers.
Nope. We aren't. But that does kind of show something. Just how it's set up for him, and then well, we're gonna get to part 2 when we get to it, but there you can tell like there's that contrast there.
Yeah.
Like, how he's set up to.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, with a rocky bit of a ritzy structure in the academy, for the moment, the startup for part 1 is actually quite solid. You have your main character, who's got a demon fox inside him. You've got his two teammates, the rival is better than him at everything, and they have the Kunoichi, who he has a crush on, but she has a crush on the popular boy. And you have the sensei, who has a sort of mysterious past. And they're going on adventures as a team together, while Naruto aims to become the Hokage.
Believe
Now, here's the strength to that. It's like, well, okay, so not the strength, but I guess the one weakness I could put that in is like, okay, so you could say that setup is like something that's been done before.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of how you handle it, and I think it's in terms of setup. I think it was handled all right.
Yeah. I will say one criticism with you could say with the setup is that, you don't really know where the story is going to go besides Naruto's end game goal as Hokage, because from the setup, you could have just gone to any random thing you do. Heck, the very first arc mission they do is like, just like, it's a bit random where they get like this, they're supposed to get this sort of higher than D rank, C rank mission, but it turns out to be a B rank or A rank mission, and they fight this this like rogue ninja from another village, which has some quite deep themes and all that stuff about the world of Shinobi and how it's a much darker place and stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, you don't really know what the end game goal is for the thing, because from the way that the story starts, you could have just gone to any random mission and stuff. But they went from one mission to then make tournament tuning exam arc. But go on.
Well, I was just going to say, we don't know where the story's going to head up, but we kind of have an idea where Naruto as a character wants to end up.
Yeah.
Or at least, let me ask this one. Why did Naruto want to be a Hokage in the first place? Is it because he wanted to lead the village, or was it because, maybe because he just wanted to be more popular than Sasuke?
From my understanding, he wanted everyone in the village to acknowledge him, because the Hokage is the one that everyone acknowledges.
Yeah, and the reason why I bring this up because because I want everyone, no matter where you are or what fan of Naruto you kind of are, but just think about this for a second. Why does this make a great leader right then and there? Like, you only want to be leader because you want everyone to acknowledge you? Doesn't sound like a good leader material, isn't it?
The answer to that obviously is no, but
it's a shallow reason.
It's a stepping stone towards his character development.
Yeah, but it's
obviously
it's a stereotypical story start where like you have this like bratty kid and he wants to be the greatest of all time because he has high dreams, nihilistic of fame and fortune, and then you get the development. But that's a little discussion for later. But I just want everyone to keep that one in the back of their heads.
But yeah, let's see. Yeah, let's see. Hold on, let me just take a look at the thing again. Sap. Yes. Let's see. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. What follows on with the story is like a tournament tuning exam thing where we get Naruto, where we introduce to Naruto's other classmates who passed, as well as some ninja who passed the exams a year before, and some ninjas from other villages. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. It results in a massive conflict by the end, which results in the end of the third Hokage. And
kind of like Batman, every single other character in the entire show is some kind of a reflection of the main character himself.
Oh, yeah. Well, in many ways, that is reflected on the opponents that Naruto had faced at throughout for the exam. You had Kiba, who's just as a wild, obnoxious person as he is. Neji, who is someone stuck by his fate. And Gaara, who is a complete actual mirror of Naruto with the same backstory. The downside is he did not have the positive outcome that Naruto did with his Iruka Imo.
That's basically it.
Yeah, that was.
Otherwise, the only other major conflict is Orochimaru.
Oh yeah, who is sort of a long-term villain here, who plans to eventually take Sasuke away for unknown reasons, until you later learn that he seeks Sasuke's Sharingan in order to combat the guy that Sasuke is pursuing for his vengeance, who wiped out his clan, his own older brother, who we have found has joined an organization known as the Akatsuki.
Hey, spoilers!
which is followed, but which Orochimaru was once a member of, and Jiraiya was looking for. Let's see, during his time out of the village, who has now become Naruto's de facto teacher, since he can better train Naruto than Kakashi can.
No, Kakashi was the best teacher of all because he was super smart. He let everyone else train the students. That's the best teacher of all, and he still got paid for it. Think about that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
What's the smartest decision Kakashi has ever done? Hey Sasuke, I know you hate everybody and you want to kill everybody. Let me show you a very dangerous assassination technique.
But let's see. I think we're probably now into the conflict. Now, would you say, Lucky Chi, or?
Yeah, more or less. Which was kind of something I wanted to bring up because you kind of have that setup. Like you could say like the first half of the Chunin Exam is still part of like the setup for the series. And you've got this establishment for Orochimaru being the villain in part 1, which was.
Let's see. Depending on how you take the Chunin exams, you can either see it as one big mega arc or separate it into smaller arcs. But yeah.
You could.
I mean, the Naruto Wiki splits it into the Chunin exams and the invasion of Kahona.
Well,
I stopped trusting the Naruto Wiki because they say it's this arc. Because I remember the war arc, it was just the war arc, and then they just like chopped it down a bit. I'm like, whatever.
Although we do have factual evidence to back some of this up. With does anybody remember the interview with Kishimoto and Kishimoto's first editor Yahagi?
Yeah.
Yahagi and Kishimoto were discussing how the Chunin exams was basically an introduction to all the other characters in the series. So, as you said, it is according to them, it is still the setup arc. The setup arcs to lead up. I don't think the story actually really kicks in until Orochimaru makes the scene.
I'm thinking too.
So anyway. I'm going to be bringing up interviews every now and then into the discussion, and I suggest anybody who's listening, again, if you're listening right now, do some homework. Look into some of these interviews, because I promise you they're interesting, albeit contradictive, but that's beside the point.
Of course, by the time we get around to who and what Orochimaru is, part 1 is, I wouldn't say nearly over, but it's 2/3 of the way over. Because once the Chunin exam arc ends with the third Hokage's death, that's when the Orochimaru plot starts to kick into high gear.
Because the Leaf Village needs a new Hokage. Jiraiya won't do it, so he suggests we search for the other member of the Sannin trained by the third, the legendary Kunoichi Tsunade. So he takes Naruto on a journey to find her, but at the same time, he touched the two rogue ninjas. Let's see, one of them is Sasuke's brother. Itachi is on the move to capture Naruto, more specifically the Nine-Tailed Fox. Naruto encounters the Akatsuki. Let's see, with Sasuke arriving to try and fight his brother, but his brother shows no interest in him. And this has long-term effects on the series, for better or for us. But we'll get there. But yeah, which at the time...
I love Blue Star here. He's like the Cliff Notes.
I know.
It's a juice box. Just put a quarter in. You got to listen to the whole song.
Yeah. Again, that's why I always call him Mr. Wikipedia.
Okay, Sai.
Who needs us talking about all these characters? Just wind them up, let them go.
Hi, welcome to Blue Star and Friend.
Okay, I apologize.
That's okay.
No, I'm messing with you. Good old days, good old times.
But when you get down to it, part 1 is a really heavy exposition filled.
You mean the rest of the series?
It cranks it up a bit. Like it just went from like, okay, it's a tournament, then everyone's going to die. You know, just
it turns from a tournament.
Here's the question though: do you feel like with that setup, it was quick, or do you think they should have built more up to it?
I honestly feel like, let's see, in hindsight, I wish they'd build a bit more towards before doing it, at least with the 4 main characters, because, let's see, when you take the exam, the only one that's really ready for the exam is Sasuke. Naruto only really has his shadow clones. Sakura hasn't shown any skills or combat yet. And since it's a exam for getting to become Chunin, you have Kakashi in the sidelines for a very long time. I mean, when I'm looking at like all the fights Kakashi had from part 1, he technically only really has 3 or 4. His bell test one, his 2 matches against Zabuza, and later the conflict with like the 2 members of the Akatsuki, and that's really it. Granted, there's some off-screen battles with the sand and sound ninjas and the invasion, but that's off-screen for most part.
Yeah,
Well, then
like,
also the other thing is because I know Kishi has said this, like record that like he wanted to actually incorporate more arcs before the Chunin exams to like give the characters more breathing room and more moments. Which, if you look at it in hindsight, I think that would have worked. But given Shonen Jump's little system, I mean, I don't know if that system was like that back in the day, but you know.
it's hard to say if there was a system like that because it's kind of coincidental that you have Bleach and Naruto to be like there's no such thing as 10, 20 chapters length of arcs. There's always like a minimum of 30. Because it's funny when you look at these new series today, like Black Clover, My Hero Academia. When you look at them today, it's like, we got 100 chapters. How many arcs we have? 6. 6? Yeah, we got 6 arcs. You know, Naruto by this point only has 2. Because I remember Naruto tuning exam lasted all the way to 135 or around there.
Around that,
It's
yeah.
like, 2 arcs only. And Bleach, we got all the slice of life things. They don't really consider as arcs.
Well,
But you could consider that just slice of life with one big giant mode. And then you got Soul Society. Boom, 2 arcs.
No, I would say at least with the Bleach one, let's see, all those slice of life ones was like a sort of monster of the week kind of thing. So
right.
it at least gave the chance for Kubo to flesh out his characters.
Right, before we get to the high gear of a bunch of other characters. But the point is, it's like it's funny how it works today compared to what happens during the Naruto era, because I don't know if there was a system, so to say. It could be just coincidental that Naruto and Bleach had the same mindset as like the early days of Shonen Jump, mainly Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball, like, they gotta have like 1,000 chapters. Well, not really, but they gotta have a lot of chapters, but there's only like 4 sagas altogether. So it's like,
pretty much.
Yeah, like today's era, you got like a lot of arcs within 100 chapters free. So that's how it is today. I mean, again, I don't know if it's a system. It could be just coincidental, but that's the way I see it.
I think another thing that affected it was that most of the fights, this is probably most of the conflicts in Naruto for most part, end up being boss battles.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. They're like multiple boss battles. There's hardly like a henchman number 1, henchman number 2. That's all One Piece stuff. One Piece is pretty much the same thing too. Like they got Alabasta arc. It's like that took like 2 arcs, and that took like over 100 chapters later in terms of getting to the second arc.
Well, I mean, technically, in many ways, One Piece was like the main structure that the future mangas would do, like Black Clover and One Piece. Because I mean, My Hero and Black Clover, because One Piece in its first 100 chapters, you at least had 5 major arcs. And
even though a lot of people like to consider East Blue SN1 more so than like separate them. Yeah, it's a saga. More so than separate them. It's like, you know, kind of like how the recent arc for One Piece is going on. It's going by X, which is like, yeah, that makes sense. But again, like, I don't know how the structure worked, but to answer your question, it's funny because in a sense, maybe it is a little fast paced, but at the same time, in hindsight, it's probably for the best. And at least it gets to the more of the danger zone rolling quicker. Well, I like a little bit slowed down slice of lifetime, sure. Especially in hindsight when you get to part 2, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But like when you get to the action, when you want to get to the momentum, you want to build that momentum. I feel like the way how it worked is perfectly fine. I mean, like, you got other series, like. I'm trying not to go spoiler territory, especially for modern age era. But like, with Black Clover, it kind of pretty much have its own way of doing the whole tuning exam, but without being a tournament arc, but more so than like a big crisis arc. And now they're in the cooldown time. But the question is, are they going to slow down significantly, or they're gonna just like keep the momentum rising. Because like where you go with Naruto, it's like Chunin exam. It's all fun and dandy, even though people died there. I mean, Shino was like cold blooded to rip the guy arms off. It's like, huh. But like you then after like the Chunin exam happened, the third Hokage dies. You know, we gotta find Tsunade. It's like the momentum keep on rising into the danger zone. It's like, holy crap, they got a Akatsuki member. We got Itachi's Sasuke major hated brother, major hated target. And then you got the whole Sound Village invading, and then they just pretty much took Sasuke, and then shit happens. It's like, wow, damn, it's going crazy, but I'm all pumped up. I'm so hype. You know, you look at My Hero with after that big crisis moment, basically the main climax. After that, it pretty much went to the incredibly slowed down pace mode. Do you want that? I don't know. To me, I prefer how Naruto did it because at least you keep on pumping up more hype aspects and you just keep on the momentum rolling until part two happened. But that's just because it's part two. That's when you cool down and you rebuild again. So that's how I see it.
Did the characters learn anything?
Ooh, I'm not sure.
That's a good question, actually.
I guess I'm thinking this from a writer standpoint, and it's like, okay, so we have all this stuff happening, and that's fine. You can have stuff happen throughout the story, but how does it impact the characters as they are? Did Naruto learn anything? Does it help him understand what is it to be a better leader? And no doubt there is some development. I'm not going to lie, there is, but I don't think Naruto himself was the one that learned anything. It was more like every other character learned something.
I mean, the biggest example would probably be Sakura when she realizes how helpless she's been. She cuts her hair, and she's ready to try and do some action. Unfortunately, she only gets 2 fights in the entirety of part 1.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you Sakura haters out there, let go of the first impression, okay? Seriously. Sakura is flawed in the beginning. We admit this. We know that she was obsessive, but she changes from that. I'm so sick of every single time I talk about Sakura and that Sakura, hey, she's useless. She's obsessed. She's this. Well, you know what? So is Hinata, and you all have no problem with her, but, Sakura even thinks about moving on from Sasuke, and you guys have a heart attack.
Well, when you talk about Naruto and the Chunin exam, if we're talking about Chunin exam, I have to disagree because I do think Naruto did go through aspects of like piece by piece more so than like a major. What's the overall theme? The idea is him to give the message that he is.
I said we're not denying that aspect.
Right. I'm just saying like. The reason why a lot of people love Chunin exam is side characters definitely stand out a lot, which
the biggest example would be Rock Lee.
Yeah, which in hindsight it will be the major drawback when you like. I think that's the problem we have like a lot of series. When we get to part two, we get to part two.
Yeah, of course we have a whole bunch of characters doing 180s, but again, this is something later down the road.
But that's that too.
I just don't think Naruto grew enough as a character. I think he could have used a little bit more growth. I mean, I think the length of part 1 was fine. I mean, I had no problems with it, especially with the introduction of all the characters and the different ideals that were thrown at Naruto. But Naruto doesn't really learn anything from them. He doesn't really he doesn't go like, I understand where you're coming, like the Neji, when Neji was just like, you have to be born into success instead of it's being this nobody and become successful, and this is a theme that they try to beat into you the entire time, and it's like Naruto doesn't really emphasize that kind of plot point. If we're really going to look into that, you might as well look at Rock Lee, who actually did have nothing and then became this super powerful taijutsu ninja, for lack of a better term, that was able to take on a child Jinchuriki and actually do damage. I mean, he lost the fight, but he was pretty badass for it.
I think the biggest problem is due to the fact that Naruto had the demon fox in him from the beginning, and that in many ways that gives him a boost of power up.
Yeah,
so but everything with Neji was always going to be a bit of a thing. Granted, they wanted Naruto. I think Natsuki Kishimoto wanted to try and find an opponent to face Naruto, and he could only think of have this shy girl that has a crush on Naruto fight this ritzy member of her own clan who's better than her, call her a failure and that stuff, get Naruto riled up, so he wants to beat the living daylights out of this one.
But like, think about this for a second. Like, a couple of the fights just end so anticlimactically. He fights Kiba. He fights Kiba. Kiba was whooping his ass throughout the entire match, and through a sheer force of luck, Naruto does a maneuver very similar to what Sasuke did. So he copied Sasuke, who copied Rock Lee, and he does a very similar maneuver. He kicks him once, and then Kiba's like, I give up, even though Kiba wasn't really that hurt.
Well,
Kiba could have kept going.
I'm pretty certain Kiba was knocked out in the fight.
I mean,
but he talked to Hinata afterward when he was on the stretcher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, we get kicked to the ground. It hurts like a,
Yeah, but then you have Neji, and then
like,
but just one hit.
I'm just saying, it's like the Shikamaru shenanigan. Let me just have a wall behind you, and let me just use my shadow bind. Then I'm just gonna bend backwards to dodge his ninja star. Oh, you thump your head. What an idiot. Well, you got knocked out, so. It's funny because, like, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the idea that Kishimoto has in mind in terms of, like, people will get knocked out really fast if you really kick them hard to the freaking ground with direct hit rather than, like, I'm falling down, I'm probably slowing down my fall. I mean, like, again, there are some series that say it's like pretty much the Dragon Ball Z logic is like, well, every hit's the same mode,
but it's inconsistent.
Right, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, when like in DBZ, it's like everybody gets hits in a different various way, but it's still the exact same style of damage. Like you get like series like Kimetsu no Yaiba, whenever they get hit in a specific area, it actually means it. Like, feels like a real deal. Like, oh, that's why he dropped it, because he got hurt so bad. It's kind of like a storytelling on its own. But Naruto, I don't know if the logic is going by Dragon Ball Z. Like, every damage really means the exact same hit damage. There's no difference. It's not like,
here's a giant enemy crab.
Huh?
Nothing. Old school joke.
I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's just going by logic. I'm just maybe throwing a bone for Kishi. I don't know.
Okay, so Kiba, you got the kick of the head, and then you get to the Neji fight, and it's almost exactly the same way. Neji is controlling the entire field, like, just beats the crap out of Naruto like no tomorrow. And then Naruto, from a fluke, and even Naruto admits himself, he wasn't even thinking about making a shadow clone or anything, and somehow makes a shadow clone, comes up from the ground, and sweet chin music's Neji one hit, and Neji's like, I give up.
I think this is the biggest problem with Naruto, is this is more due to the fact that we went from, let's see, a mission from the Land of Waves to a tournament arc, is that Naruto didn't really get any training, so his only standard move at the time was the Shadow Clone.
Which gives credence to the fact that maybe we could have used another, let's say 35 chapters of just leisure, day-to-day life sort of thing before the Chunin exams.
Yeah. Well, in Naruto's defense, he did get training with Jiraiya with the Kyuubi chakra. Not only did he learn the summon, but
until like later on. That wasn't until like after like the what's it called? Like that little section of the Chunin exam. That didn't happen until like after that.
Forest of
That's
Death.
when the training kicked in for Naruto.
You mean the Forest of Death?
Oh yeah,
Forest of Death. Yeah.
Fine enough. Which was his fight with Orochimaru was one of the only few times Naruto lost in the entire series. But we'll get onto that later.
Well, you gotta give him credit compared to the modern series. He does lose to a fight that he should not lose, or more like kind of like a shocker, kind of like the Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar losing streak, the streak broken shocker. Well, at least for me, but back when I was in my childhood, mainly with the Naruto versus Sasuke, I was like, oh shit. But maybe because I'm so used to hero always win, so gotta give him props for that kind of thing. But keep going.
I was just saying that, in my opinion, it was too anticlimactic. Some of the fights were just too anticlimactic for me. Naruto losing against Orochimaru. Well, okay, that makes sense because Orochimaru is a much older, much more wiser ninja. Yeah, and an experienced ninja, and he's been experimenting with different kind of ninjutsu. Though we learn
And
this
he's
fact
also
later.
like the main antagonist of part 1. Like that's what the setup is. It's like
Yeah.
start part 1. He's like the overarching villain.
Yeah. For the antagonist for Naruto, you have 2 rogue ninja from the Mist. Let's see. Then you have a mix of sand and sound ninja for the next thing. And then the sound would become villains throughout the rest of part 1. But see, the only other villains you get is members of the Akatsuki. In many ways, it's a bit of a small. You have a small group of villains, really. You have like the rogue mist ninja, sound ninja, sand ninja, and the Akatsuki.
All the Orochimaru henchmen.
And most of most of them being let's see, a henchman of Orochimaru or allies of Orochimaru, at least at the time.
Which here's the other thing with
still
the
done better than Great Naruto.
If you guys remember, I forget which OVA it is. It's like it's kind of shell shaded, but Orochimaru Orochimaru like possesses like one of the shinobis that's like attacking Team 7.
You mean the one that's based off of cutscenes from the Storm games?
I think so. Yeah, that one.
It's the same engine. Yes.
Yeah, like I looked at that scene and I'm like, I like it, and I kind of wish that was there because it'd be like, oh wow, who's this guy? Like, I think it would have better. Like, I still like how he showed up, but I think if you had set him up, like, oh, that's the guy, like little things like that, I think would have worked.
It would have worked,
especially when you have villains that actually like help the main character learn something or learn to adapt a technique or learn different fighting styles or anything like that.
We should probably mention during the Team 7's encounter with Orochimaru, he gives Sasuke this curse mark, which can increase his power, but has a sort of negative effect of increasing his more darker emotions, as he ended up breaking the arms of a sound ninja.
Also gave him a mixtape of My Chemical Romance. That's my J.O. hand. No.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else in terms of setup because I think we've.
Let's see. Well, one thing I kind of noticed in conflicts is that Kishimoto, for most part, likes to do the rule of 2 when it comes to his villains. You usually get 2 villains focused on the same time. I mean, there are exceptions. I mean, the next arc that we haven't talked about yet is one of the examples, but for most part, when it comes to Naruto in any conflict, you usually have 2 bad guys for one arc for most part. But
yet it's still done better than the Sony Spider-Man brand.
No, but here's the thing though about the conflict is like in part 1, like you could say the overarching conflict is Orochimaru. My thing is,
it doesn't really tie into Naruto himself. It's more of his rival Sasuke.
That's kind of what I get the overarching plot for Orochimaru, and I think it works. But how does that tie into Naruto? That's always something I've always kind of asked myself. Like anytime I go back and reread Naruto, which is mainly part 1, I always get to that point and I'm like, well, okay, I get Orochimaru, I get that he's the villain, but what's the connection to Naruto? Because usually when you have a villain, it's like, all right, so you got
obviously, fellas, we're looking at this all wrong. Here we're thinking Naruto was the main character when the real main character is Sasuke. Because it all ties back to him.
But realistically speaking, I wasn't bothered by this. It's just that when Sasuke gets way too much focus, like to be like everything of everyone, it's like pretty much a jack of all trades. He's actually is a master of all, so that's the problem. But we're gonna get to that later. But when it comes to Naruto, like, is he related to this situation? I'm actually fine with that because I feel like the reason why this whole chosen one even happened is to give him a reason to be part of it. I feel like it's better when the character just gets dragged into it because life happens to him.
I'll get to that later, but let's see. I suppose there is one thing to say that Naruto was an outside source of this, and he's just become a recurring nuisance. Where during the whole search of Tsunade, when they finally reunite with Tsunade, Naruto is training to learn this new jutsu that is more powerful than Chidori, the signature move that Sasuke had learned from Kakashi.
Oops.
When he finally masters this Rasengan.
It's basically Naruto's version of the Kamehameha.
Yeah, the Kamehameha, his signature move. He masters his signature move, the Rasengan. This is when Orochimaru finally starts paying attention and feels like this boy could be a threat. I gotta kill him now.
Yeah.
What's too late?
But we have one thing that's missing from this part 1 so far.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we're ignoring. Something that not many people talk about. Do you know what it is?
Actually, no.
Anybody?
Is it the fact that Sakura's a bit absent from the plot?
No.
Okay.
Something much more important to the plot, I should say.
Is it
not to say that Sakura was not important, but something that was more prevalent throughout the entire plot of Naruto. The bond between Naruto and Sasuke.
Oh, yeah.
We're not really explained how these two became so close as they are. I mean, we get these small things here and there, but there's nothing really to say that, like, we can understand why these two are, like, best friends.
Let's see, the last arc of... I say the only time when you have room to breathe, let's see, for that is the first arc in the series where they're training together and then fighting Haku together. That's the only time.
Yeah, you get this with Zabuza.
See, the last
great
arc
villain,
has
by the way.
the last arc has to give it a start of engine spots where they established that Naruto and Sasuke did meet eye to eye back in that flashback, like whatever the childhood, 8 years old, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they have it's that kind of bond of saying like, well, for some reason I hate this guy, but I feel like we could connect the best kind of synergy they have. That's where they were going for. Yeah, they should have more grounded, but even so, like going to that fight, the Naruto versus Sasuke, the first fight, it was pretty damn interest. It was pretty.
Are you referring to the one where they have
like,
on top of the hospital on the land of in the Valley of End?
The hospital felt so grounded, especially the way how they just got really pissed at each other, and then they really went out of their way to be like, "Shit, you guys are doing an attack that can legitimately kill a person." What's wrong with you two?
Why?
Well, with something I kind of want to bring the anime canon to this because I noticed between the Searchers and Tsunade arc and the Retrieval arc, which I know is kind of going to be where we get into the climax of it.
Mm-hmm.
You had that little mini arc. I forget what it's called, but
oh, you talk about the anime exclusive?
Yeah, the anime.
The filler, right?
Yeah, that
I know you talk about that racing one, right?
Yeah, the boat racing one.
Yeah, well, it's not boat racing. It's just more.
It's that racing one. Yeah.
It's just racing.
And this, let's see, you have this anime character that's related to one of the exam proctors.
Yeah,
which
that
is
one.
Weird, but those two don't.
I hated those episodes.
You hated the what?
Trying to erase all those filler episodes from my memory because I hated them.
That one is not too bad, but
not all the filler episodes are bad.
After the last arc of the official canon,
they got pretty bad.
More bads than good. I'm gonna be generous.
I'll definitely say that. Yeah,
I'm gonna be generous to say that because the funny thing is, like prior to this podcast, I remember I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have I'm gonna start typing things, but at the same time, I'm just gonna have filler episode. Let me go a very, very bad nostalgia trip to filler hell, and I actually did that. It's quite something else.
I will say with the filler arc in between the two canon arcs, it did build up a little bit with the whole Sasuke envious thing when the villains that defeated Sasuke saying how the last survivor of the Uchiha clan, he heard rumors that him being a hopeless loser.
Yeah.
So I suppose that built to his more jealousy.
Again, I don't want to jump ahead, but technically speaking, they do explain the reason why Sasuke went out of his grid is because the Uchiha has an emotional problem, thanks to part 2 establishment. Yeah, I know.
We're gonna get to that.
I know. Trust me, a lot of revelation in part 2 is
I'm
very
putting the pull in.
forced.
I'm spinning the chamber. Click. Damn it. Click. Damn it.
But Yeah, in terms of conflict, like, you have the whole Orochimaru thing, which, again, I think for the most part works, and while I do kind of wish Naruto was a little more integrated into it, it's kind of something that does become noticeable, like what Sparta said.
Yeah, I
From
like
the
to. I like to.
arc.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
But I don't get how Naruto and Sasuke are best friends.
Well, I
That's
can
my
understand
thing
that
too.
part.
That's my thing too,
That I
yeah.
can understand.
And that's where I'm coming from in this one. We like it almost feels like they skipped something, you know, like if they were like childhood friends and they trusted each other and they were like, oh, you know, I hope we're best friends forever, and then they grow up and then Sasuke become after the whole, you know, Uchiha massacre and everything like that, and then he becomes more jaded and shallow and he becomes introverted. Then I can understand, but throughout the entire series, it's just basically I hate you. But I kind of
But
like
not
you,
really.
but I hate you,
Yeah.
and I want to kill you.
You're my
Well,
rival now.
I'm your rival, but I love
Another
you, but I hate
thing-
you, but I love. There's no reason. There's
You
no
know-
reason why Sasuke should be jealous of Naruto. There's no reason why Sasuke should be feeling any of the feelings that he has for Naruto because they don't. The bond that they have is not properly set up.
Yeah.
And to compare Kishimoto to Toriyama, where how we had Goku and Vegeta be their bond and how they developed it. They started out as villains, and then after Vegeta had this jealousy, but then after he started achieving basically what Goku was starting to achieve, he started to have more and more respect for Goku to the point that it became a mutual thing, even though Vegeta is basically a tsundere to Goku and be like, it's not like I like you or anything, Kakarot Baka, but
Yeah.
there's that deep respect. This is not the case with Naruto and Sasuke. I don't
See-
feel it. There's nothing there that has developed, and there's no foundation. But you expect me to believe that there was something there to begin with, and I'm like, what? Because they saw each other that one time by a riverbed, and they somehow telepathy had a mutual understanding? What?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, see, it's funny that you bring that up because I know if we're going by that, it's like, well, okay, they've had missions before the tuning exams. The problem, though, is that all that stuff's off screen, so we don't know what happened during that point, and that's kind of where my issue comes in with that.
And at best, Sasuke was completely apathetic. I don't care about anyone or anything. All I have is my mission to kill my brother, and that's all we learn from him. And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, Naruto, I kind of, sort of, somewhat not really like you and respect you. I want to kill you." And it's like, whoa, what? Where'd that come from, Sasuke?
See, it's funny when you mention about the whole Naruto Sasuke. I think because if you either wait a little longer, like maybe 2 more arcs, and establish their bondage further, their bond, I mean, like their
I think
friendship.
it could have worked then if you had like a couple arcs before the tuning exams.
Yeah,
you have
it
like, all
could've
right,
worked.
you have a bit of an establishment there.
Yeah, it could have worked. I mean, like, like in the long run, even though, yeah, that's true, they could have built more. I still bought it in a very lowest denominator sense.
That's
Like,
how I
all
felt.
right,
All
I'll
right,
take
I
it.
feel a little bit of it.
Like I'll take it. It's not like I'll just go like I'll take it more so than like, oh my god, I can't believe this writer is so cruel.
It was
To my heart.
Well, I hope you didn't overpay for it.
I think-
right, but like, go on, Brew.
I think it was well presented at the time, at least. But go on.
Yeah, it was well presented. That's the thing. But
here's the thing, though. You want a conflict like that. I'm going to bring Percy Jackson to account because, and you guys know what I'm going to bring up. It's Percy and Luke.
If everybody believes the movie version, then they don't have no idea what.
Oh no!
That movie version changed drastically on that part. I was like, oh, okay, we beat him. Huh.
And for you light novel fans, you are totally somewhere else.
It's like, wait, you got defeated, but should it be the vice versa?
So, Steve, what do you think? Because you've been quiet.
Actually, you should go.
James, on your point of Naruto and Sasuke's bond, I was about to say before we got into the whole Dragon Ball spiel between Goku and Vegeta, one other thing that My Hero Academia has over Naruto is the bond between
Midoriya and Bakugo.
Yes. Thank you for taking the words out of my mouth.
Sorry.
Even though they almost shot their foot when they went to that moment where the villains catch her and it's like, hey, join us. Almost shot in the foot. Very close.
I keep calling that guy Bukake.
The only thing I don't like is that they really kind of hammering in the idea that they both best compatible. But like, all right, I get it, but this guy attitude still needs work.
That's my issue too. I'm just like,
that's still an ongoing problem. Honestly, the only healthy, even if it's like straightforward, the most healthiest so far I've seen is Black Clover. Honestly,
yeah, I know. That's what I want to say too. The hardest one I've seen out of any of the shonen is Aston.
Okay,
Right.
should we let Steve continue his point?
I'm sorry.
No, please go on.
Nah,
Please go on. I got my cat bugging me here anyway. But to address the second issue regarding the last couple of battles between the Sound 4 and the Sasuke Retrieval Squad. Yeah, I'm gonna Kitamaru's battle with Naruto and Rock Lee and Gaara is a very interesting character perspective because it shows you, and again, this is just more exposition dumped on us, but it shows you how Orochimaru can manipulate people to do his bidding. Hey, you're all alone, right? Well, come join me, and I'll make sure you're not alone anymore. But the only drawback being once your usefulness has been served, you are no longer on Orochimaru's radar, so to speak.
Wasn't that kind of shown with like those sound getting in the tuning exam?
In a way,
but it's more prevalent with Kimimaro than with the Sound Ninjas.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our climax and revolution in part 1, the final battle. Well, okay, not final battle, but the first
final stage of it.
So we get Naruto versus Sasuke, and we get a whole what was it, 3 chapters or 4 chapters worth of backstory for Sasuke.
I believe so, yeah.
Concerning why and it's only tangentially related to his motivations. Why he feels so strongly about taking revenge on Itachi for killing the Uchiha clan. Then we also get the first inkling as to how powerful Naruto can really become once he truly taps into the Nine-Tailed Fox's power. When he gets his neck broken by Sasuke.
Oh, I remember that.
Really? He gets his neck broken?
Pretty much. I don't think you're gonna.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. And
this is the ultimate lover's quarrel.
pretty much, too. It's, come back. No. Come back. No. Come back. No. Come back. All right, that's it. I'm stabbing you in the heart.
Yeah. How many people took that battle and put it to simple and clean from Kingdom Hearts?
Far too many people on YouTube, I guarantee
Seriously,
you that.
I've seen a lot of videos about that. I'm like,
please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean as... Okay, sorry.
Honestly, I'm pretty certain Linkin Park in the end has been used for that fight more than any other.
Oh, you have no idea how many of those songs running. I'm like, it's a good song, but damn.
Remember, children, 2006 was a very different time on YouTube.
Yes.
Back then,
One time.
people used Linkin Park for everything.
Yes, Blue Star, that was the joke. Thank you.
Goes back to Dragon Ball, actually.
Killed by Blue Star.
Sigh.
For those of you not familiar with the old podcast days, Blue Star was notorious joke killer. He's like the Jack the Ripper of jokers.
But see, it's also because I didn't quite get the joke until it was too late.
Yeah.
Or I didn't realize they were joking at the time.
Honestly, though, once we get into the battle itself, it actually is. It actually both when you read it in the manga and when you watch it in the anime, it's a rather emotional sort of thing. Like here, Naruto is truly learning that words alone will not reach. That sometimes action and violence
Wait a minute.
are going to make a difference.
Wait a minute.
But
What are
also,
you trying to say?
it also teaches Naruto that one of his greatest lessons in humiliation that it doesn't matter how strong he thinks he is. In the end, he's always going to need he's going to need more training, especially up against the Akatsuki.
Which that's something I want to bring up is that okay? So by that point, when you see him, because that's kind of his fault in a way. So when you get to that point, like he's like, all right, so you understand when you see him as a character, it's like okay, it's for him to grow, and in a way, you saw that, and that kind of pushed him to be better. But the double-edged sword to that is that's also his biggest downfall too.
Did we forget to mention that Sasuke was extremely jealous over Naruto because Itachi wanted him first?
Oh yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
That was the thing.
Remember the
But yeah.
explanation.
Let's see, and Sakura, who originally, if you're wondering what happened to her, well, watched helplessly Naruto and Sasuke fight, and her pleading to try and get Sasuke to stay, trying to pour out all her feelings, failed. Tries to ask Naruto to bring Sasuke back, realizing that she cannot just rely on Naruto, she must also take part and help. Witsi goes to Tsunade to train, and Jiraiya offers to take Naruto out of the village to train for a bit, and the resolution ends with like everyone getting to training and Naruto heads off, but with a quick glimpse of the Akatsuki members. They're here. Let's see, by the way, we should probably also mention the Akatsuki member was also watching Naruto and Sasuke. This will play a deep bit of importance later, but yeah, that mostly what happens in the resolution.
And Rock Lee says, I gotta do 200 push-ups this time.
Oh yeah, we kind of forgot to mention, let's see, Rock Lee, let's see, comes after being injured by Gaara, comes back in this one, and then and all that stuff, but yeah.
And he becomes best friends with Gaara, too.
Yeah.
Because Gaara becomes a good guy after getting his ass kicked by Naruto.
That is one thing, but yeah. So in terms of resolutions go, it's a bit of a... And the whole climax with Naruto and Sasuke is a bit bittersweet. Naruto's failed, but he's still determined to bring him back someday. And is willing to go to Jiraiya to train to do it.
Well, technically, he trained just because Akatsuki was aiming for him.
Well, that as well.
So here's the question, though, with that resolution. Biggest strength and biggest weakness from that?
From the resolution?
Mm-hmm.
Resolution.
Biggest strengths, there's a lot of hype go around because you got the establishment of Orochimaru. Now he has your best friend Sasuke. You have Akatsuki, which has Itachi, which has shown that he is broken as hell. The fact he was like one of the characters that never get touched until part 2 happened. But whenever there's a character that never gets touched, it's always like intimidating as hell. It's like, my God, this guy cannot get touched. It's like if you see him get touched, it's a New Year's celebration worthy. That's how monumental it was back then.
I mean, oh yeah, the biggest example I can for One Piece was Doflamingo.
Well, yeah, something like that. I mean, like whatever that's happening in the recent arc for One Piece is going to be like if he wins, it's like worth of fireworks, New Year celebration fused with Thanksgiving parade fused with all the other ones. That would be like the biggest hell yeah. But that's a different story. Point is, you got Akatsuki, where it has 9 members, and if Itachi was broken as hell, just imagine the other 8. He also Kisame for a bit, but he has a sword that's just
as big as Zabazar and maybe even more powerful.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot of setup, and you just have everything. Like, damn, this is actually pretty damn interesting. Just imagine the possibilities.
And you also have this guy that looks like a Venus flytrap with 2 sides of a face, one white, one black.
Right. I mean, like when Zetsu shows up the first time and towards the end of the arc, I remember seeing his wardrobe and I was like, oh, it's Akatsuki, rather than like, oh, it's this guy, It goes to show you they build a foundation of how these guys will be so very interesting once they start appearing. So basically, it was a good idea to start with 2 Akatsuki member in the very first arc of part 2. It gets you hype rolling, like, yeah, here we go.
And there was even a
But-
tease of a dude with as the lead of the organization having a special eye power, like
Right.
Byakugan and Sharingan.
Exactly. And then that's where they established there's 9 tail beasts, because I don't think they established there's like how many tail beasts
No,
there is.
like not even with the one tail. Like they never even.
It was just
mentioned that the one tail. He was known as the sand spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
Right.
he was known for.
And another thing that gets you intrigued and hopeful is that besides Naruto, you have some of the other characters training, particularly Sakura under Tsunade.
Right. There's a lot of stuff that just gets you so hyped up for the next part.
There's a lot of room for growth. That was my biggest thing I took out of the resolution for part 1, because there was a lot of room for growth and improvement for the characters, specifically for Naruto, because he just took probably the biggest L in his life during that point. And you're left in that spot where, I guess in a way, like think of like Avatar, where when Aang was about to use the Avatar state, and then Azula like just shoots him down, you're like, where are you gonna go from there? So it's kind of like, well, okay, so what exactly is gonna happen from that point? And also just seeing like where all the other characters go too, like with Sakura, and then, like especially with Sasuke, because you could see that there's like not a lot of regret, but you can tell like he kind of feels somewhat bad for ending the fight the way he did, because I don't know, because the one thing I've always kind of noticed with that is like, well, if Naruto beat him in that particular fight, would he have stayed with the village? Because I feel like during that point, Naruto, like that Sasuke was kind of like on like a confliction road there.
If you want to learn the outcome of that, just watch Road the Ninja.
Right?
Yeah, technically.
Pretty much.
Technically, that's kind of the answer.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest thing I wanted to take away from the resolutions, that there was like a lot that could have went into where the story could have gone for like the characters. James, what's your thoughts? Because you've been a little quiet on this.
Okay, so my biggest issue with this is that it's hard, all things considering that it has been on since then, that I have to look at this how it was back then when I first experienced the ending. And the hindsight 2020 is that it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen in terms of storytelling at the time, but I've seen so much better in terms of written stories like Rurouni Kenshin, and this is where I come from. Rurouni Kenshin, Dragon Ball Z, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I used to be a very advocate of saying that Dragon Ball Z was not that well written, and it was never meant to be, but for some reason Dragon Ball Z is actually much more well written than Naruto. But so the biggest strength that we got was that we finally saw Naruto lose, and he got the armor-piercing questions he got hit with. And I think that's a big strength in it, is that you see Naruto finally get beaten, not just in a battle, but just emotionally beaten. He's been proven that, you know, using words or fist alone is just not going to do it. He just can't make people believe what he wants to believe. He has to show them. And it was very interesting for them to do, especially what was very heartfelt was when, because Naruto talks about how he had a crush on Sakura the entire time, and then it gets to the promise of the lifetime scene where, like, Naruto, you just see his heart break, you know, and he's just like, he just smiles, grins, and bears it, and he says, I love her so much, I'm willing to bring him back just for her, if nothing else. And I think that's a very strong, because now you get Naruto seeing other people rather than just what he wants. He's seeing what other people want. However, the weaknesses that I see overall is it's just the fact that there could be a little bit more focus on the actual bonds that Naruto creates and why he has a bond with such people. And it mostly has to do with Naruto and Sasuke, because these two are the most predominant characters throughout the entire series. And we'll get more into that in part 2. But for part 1, the bond between them two, it didn't have a strong enough foundation for me. But I get it. It's supposed to be there. I just wish there was more to it than just them having some telepathic understanding of each other somewhere along the lines. I wish there was more fleshed out. And overall, I give it maybe a 7 out of 10 if I were to put on a scale. It's pretty average, but it still left me wanting more, and can't say that I wasn't hooked by that time. And I was very interested to see what was going to happen in the next as they grow up.
I take it now we talk part 2.
Well, first we need to get Steve's input on this.
Yeah, what a tough crowd to follow. Especially when James over here is just articulating it so well. That's why he and I work on the same wavelength half of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what can I add to that? I'm going to go with the strengths of Part 1 overall.
Mhm.
So, strengths of Part 1 as a whole, character foundation. We get to see traits that will either change as time goes on, or traits that are built upon experiences that these characters endure. Especially with Naruto and especially with Sakura. Yes. God, my cat's bugging me. Leave me alone. Another strength that Part 1 has overall is, oddly enough, the writing. You know, especially during Naruto versus Gaara or Naruto versus Sasuke, that is Kishimoto at his best. When you break down when Naruto gets broken down as a whole, whether it's he's looking at his own reflection in Gaara, or he's realizing with Sasuke again, and I reiterate that words alone will not reach. When Kishimoto's at his best, that's the type of thing I always almost praise with Naruto. Is the writing in Part 1. What could be improved upon Part 1 as a whole, maybe.
No, sorry.
Conversely, the other half of the writing that Kishimoto isn't so good at, things like.
I'd say fleshing out the world in Part 1 is something he could have really fleshed out a lot with.
Yeah,
the writing.
I mean, especially as it was mentioned earlier, if Kishimoto took a little bit of time, maybe like 20, 25 chapters, or even 30 chapters in between the Land of Waves to the Chunin exams, just to either flesh out more, either flesh out more of the world, or flesh out more of the characters.
I mean, we didn't really know what the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist were until a filler arc.
I feel like it's more of the world than the characters, because otherwise a lot of people would not be saying like, well, before we enter Part 2, I gotta say, all the praises all come to the characters, which, in a sense, they do have a point, because I do think the character did help a lot. Whether you think they should get more fleshed out or not, I think at minimum they did it a lot really well compared to like some modern series today. Also, there's the character design as well. Like the design, they feel more. They're kind of like those appeal, which I forget which YouTuber actually mentioned. Like it's funny how this Part 2, in a sense, they kind of removed their specialty in terms of design.
I think you're referring to Super Eye Patch Wolf Naruto, a series.
I think so. If I remember right, because he does have a point. Because when Part 1 started with the character design, they look compelling. Even Rock Lee with his very, very basic and very stood out like in a very common way. But it's something about it that feels identifiable. I don't know. There's something about it, and
Bruce Lee.
It's true in a sense. Huh?
Yeah.
Bruce Lee.
So most of
the besides the obvious dress code, but in different color. But yeah, the point is the idea is these characters, like, what they stood out. It's kind of like, again, I keep saying Green Naruto, but that's the idea of why everybody started off saying that.
Yeah.
Go on, Steve.
Yeah. I do remember the character designs of, like, he talked about how so creative they got a bit simpler over time, and then eventually everyone wore the same outfit. I think I said this earlier, but in terms of the world of Naruto, at the time, the only ninjas you really saw during this period of time was mostly Leaf, Sand, Sound, and Mist Ninja. with like maybe a few minor ninjas from the other villages, like the Rain, in terms of world building. Oh, and you only really saw the village of the Hidden Leaves.
For the most part, that's kind of what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not. But
It's not the worst thing. I think it actually
it's not
works
the
out in its favor.
honestly speaking, well, okay, is everybody's opinion, and that's fine. For me, I see it as a more of a nitpick in my opinion because it's like you see other series. Other series does the same thing. Like you don't really go outside your world. You could explore as much as you want in your world, but eventually you will have to go outside. And around part two, we all thought he's gonna go different places. They're gonna see other villages, and it started off promising. That's for sure. But again, we get to that. It didn't bother me that they stood around the same area for a while. I mean, the other series did the same thing, and then now they finally to think we should explore different places today. Yeah, because we kind
That's
of did
true.
everything we need to do. So I don't know. To me, I find it a nitpick. Honestly speaking, I mean, if you like to see as a negative, that's fine by me.
Fair enough.
It didn't bother me that much.
I
Honestly.
mean, it's not like One Piece where it has to go to a different location each time.
Well, yeah, 'cause I just imagine that you stay in Arlong Park. Well, we've been here for too long. That gator shark guy is pretty much gone. Why the hell are we doing here for the next 50 chapters?
Arlong Park. That was good.
I have an interesting question for all of you,
What's up?
Mhm.
and we'll try to make this a little bit quicker so we can move forward a little bit. So we looked at what was good and we looked at what was bad. What for as quick as you can? What is one of the weirdest things that kind of like you looked at and you're like, huh? I wonder why why did they do that? You know?
Why did you do
What's
that?
your weirdest thing?
I think
Weirdest thing in part one.
well, maybe this is more of a nitpick, but I did kind of find it weird that, let's see, when Naruto reunited with Konohamaru again, he had these two other kids with him, which we never seen before, and they never really got a proper introduction. But hey,
Was that filler?
no,
No.
I think that was actually in the manga.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember that scene. I don't remember that much of the manga version vividly. I always
Filler
remember the
expanded on
anime
them, but
yeah, all I remember the anime made it into a recap episode. That's all I remember. I don't remember how the manga did it again. It was like, damn, it's been a while.
Well,
It was-
no. In the manga, this was when before the Sand Ninja arrived, where Konohamaru is basically doing, a Metal Gear Solid Snake, boxy rock, and Naruto's like, "Come on, Konohamaru, I know that's you. No rock looks like a box."
Oh, okay, so that's how it works.
But then in the
Yeah,
anime, before they go into the Forest of Death, they did a recap episode.
Right. That
Which-
was like,
which-
Anko
by the
was
way,
like,
little
oh, yeah.
little quick info. Little bit quick info about this scene. Konohamaru actually asked Naruto a question about this scene where he goes, if he remembers, he asks, "Oh, so is she your this?" And he holds up the pinky finger,
Pinky,
and
yeah.
Naruto goes, "You're pretty smart for a little kid." Just a little tidbit there.
I remember that.
See, also, the little toad that Gamakichi also does that when Naruto's trying to explain to like Gamuto not to go near where Sakura is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sorry.
Thing I found weird in part one, I
It's not
suppose, what's like how the Land of Waves, the justification that they try to give for why there's very little, if any, ninja protecting the land. It's because the sea protects us all. Really, is the sea going to protect you from from some of the supernatural elements of your world? You
suppose
think the sea is going to stop all that?
I think
Sea will protect us. Oh no, a giant tsunami.
let's see. One thing I suppose
That's
weird about
that's the one thing I found weird is
I suppose
why is it that that's the justification? Why can't it be we don't have enough money to pay these ninja. We don't have enough, or our Hokage or our Mizukage is kind of a terrible leader right now. No, it's just that the sea protects them. That's why there's very little ninja, if any.
let's see. I think another weird thing is how you have Zabuza's hire is this sort of Gato guy who's a mob boss, and he looks completely different from the rest of the Ninja World characters.
That's what I was gonna bring up because I remember I saw Gato like in terms of his role, like as eccentric to the arc, but in terms of his design, I remember looking at that and then looking at the other villains in Part 1. I'm like, why is he so different from the other ones? Like how come no one else is like wearing like a business attire and stuff? That's something that just always gonna stand out to me, even when I was watching Part 1 and like going back to like, okay, you feel like you belong somewhere else, but I'll take it.
And my weird thing is, if they're all hidden villages, why do they have signposts pointing to where they are?
You know, I never thought about that. So.
Huh. That's
Wow,
funny.
I completely overlooked that.
Let's see.
Hey, let's go to the hidden Mist village. Oh, we just take the left path at this point.
The fact that, in many ways, you'd think that the instead of ninja being the main military force, you'd think most places would have samurai. But go on. But
well, part 2 of hindsight, it kind of answered your question, but okay. I would say this. It's not considered weird because I know what Kishimoto was going for. He was obviously influenced by Dragon Ball in terms of universe, because like in Dragon Ball universe, it's like, okay, the world is futuristic, and somehow they have dinosaurs, which they're supposed to be extinct. How that happened? Well, that's their world. That's how they roll it. It's like, all right, fine. We got talking animals as well. Fine, whatever. That's how they roll. So it's basically the same thing with One Piece. You know, everybody's completely abnormal, but that's just the world building is. So, you know, with Naruto, you got the technology questions like, they got walkie-talkie. I thought they had like no technology that futuristic, or TV with surveillance camera. Ooh, how they got this technology? So I don't know. It's not that weird. It's just more of their world being like that. I mean, that's just how they do it. I guess it's not weird, but it is funny. And when you look back to Part 1, but it's pretty damn ruthless aggression compared to Part 2. I guess that's one thing. It's pretty damn dark. Like, I'm always finding it hilarious every time I see like this guy could go really dark. I'm like, well, like in another series, and I'm saying like, I guess if you're in this one rock under and say like he's the one hell of a writer that could write dark stuff compared to everybody, it's like, I don't know about that now. I mean, like, if you believe he can write dark stuff, like, I see much darker things. I mean, even Naruto got some really dark elements. Going back to the first arc, when you think about it, it's pretty damn rather insane in context. It's like, okay, you got a 16-year-old boy literally die by losing an entire heart by Raikiri, by a good guy, but he did it to save his master. But it's kind of like, it's eerie because you have a kid that died. You get that in Senin manga, or at least in Attack on Titan, but here it's like, we're not doing Attack on Titan. This is kind of grim, actually. People die in the coldest way. The guy got tortured, lost his arm, and then humiliate him and just showed him like, this is what happens when you try and mess with us. And then you got like a lot of messed up backstory. Gara, especially, before they freaking cop out, but I'm not gonna go there yet. Gara backstory, original version, was rather damn dark. Everybody hates him. The only person he thought that he wasn't hated him the most. It's like, oh my
and
god,
and wanted him dead.
Yeah, it's like, it's like all this time I really want you dead. Hell, when they told me when they told everybody who's gonna volunteer to kill my son, I wholeheartedly agree to that.
There was a long Mother Jack line. Just
it's like, it's so damn dark. I'm like, my god. And then when you look at the retrieval Sasuke arc, you know, this thing like, we're gonna arrest you, we're gonna punish you, we're gonna handcuff you. We're like heroes. There's no hero thing. These ninjas are killing people. Choji killed a man. These guys should kill him, man. Kiba could have killed a man, but literally split the guy in half. These guys are freaking ruthless aggression. What's his name? I forgot his name already. The puppeteer dude. Wow.
Kankuro.
Kankuro has a legitimate assassin. Like the most grimmest thing that thank God that damn puppet could cover the entire thing before you actually see the result where both arms takes a stab, both legs takes a stab, and then the headpiece takes a stab. It's like, wow. That's damn shit. Even hey, at least Tamari was more natural. It was like, okay, she got crushed by trees. To be her. But all these deaths things, it's like, holy shit, these series is, these are 12-year-old kids. They're killing people. I'm just saying, in context, is rather damn ruthless. Like modern series, you gotta have
Killing
12, you gotta have 12 or 16-year-old kids. They don't kill people, they arrest people. They like, we're gonna take you to prison. We're gonna arrest you. The only people that kill us are adults because that's the only natural way you could say, yeah, that makes sense. When I see kids kill people, I'm gonna be thinking I'm watching a Sennin manga or reading a Sennin manga or see whatever. Like I'm not reading Berserk. These people are gonna be very nice, polite caretakers, but not in Naruto. Part 1 at least. These guys were killing people.
I'll explain that what I want to talk about later. We'll get the part. There's a fridge horror.
And I know the old manga back in the 80s and 90s, they did the same, but Naruto did. But it felt like the Naruto was the last gateway. But that's about it.
Finished?
Yeah, I'm done. I just find it funny how people say like this series is so dark. I was like, not look. I'm not the biggest fan of Naruto, but even Naruto was darker. I'm just saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, 4Life is confused on why ninja kill people.
I'm just saying you could,
Well,
like I said,
when you go to the actual war in Naruto, you probably understand why he's saying, "Holy shit, this is dark."
Yeah, see, I'm not jumping ahead. With part 2, when they did the war arc, they conveniently made everybody into zombies just to say you're not really killing them. You're only putting them into peace. You're not killing them. Just letting you know, these guys are innocent people. They are innocent. That's what they did. That's what Kishimoto pretty much did. Zetsu doesn't count. They're just clones. They don't count.
I'm just imagining 4Life you in this world as being a Naruto villain, and then you get thrown in jail, and you grab a kunai, and you're like, I wonder what this would feel like. Ow! That kind of hurt. Is that what I've been doing to people? I belong here.
All I'm saying is that you could find a way to hide yourself and not to be that ruthless. And then they acknowledge it wholeheartedly. Like
everyone gets knocked unconscious.
I mean, every different series has different rules. Naruto could easily just make a false rule to say these guys are not gonna kill people, but the adults are because they're adults. That's just how it is. They do that some way. Like the modern series is like you got like a lot of upcoming heroes, whether it's in Black Clover, by My Hero, Fairy Tail, which is funny because Fairy Tail some characters do kill. How about that?
But yeah,
it's weird how they actually kill. Some actually kill. Like mainly like Jaw, Laxus. Because when you look at the last arc and it's like, hey, you got brought back to life. Yeah, I was killed. I was like, wait, you telling me those members actually kill you? Huh. So they say this series is the most lighthearted shonen. My ass it is. But yeah. Anyway. I'm just saying, when you say this series is super dark, especially the series I read the same thing, I don't know what boat you came from. You must be very new to the series. That's the only thing I can say.
Insert people die when they are killed meme here.
Yeah.
So, part 2, everyone.
Yep, so...
Whoa, part 2? What about filler arcs?
Filler?
No filler arcs. We're discussing the manga.
I'm sorry, what filler?
I told you 4Life, we're not allowed to talk about that.
But they're so amazing. You got the time where they had to cook ramen with.
Look, there's only 3 filler arcs in part 1 that are worth discussing. There's the one. There's the one that immediately followed the ending of part 1, which is when Sakura decided to run away and Naruto almost joined her.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Then,
The Ongo one. The Ongo one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I like the Anko
Then
one.
there was the Anko one,
I
and
hate-
then
I
there
don't
was
like
the
I don't like the
very
villain
last
design.
filler arc. Then there was the very last filler arc concerning Gara, and
Yeah.
and how they showed like how what was it like now that he wasn't out to kill people anymore. And oddly enough, in that last filler arc, they introduce a girl that shows up in Shippuden as well. I forget
Hey,
her
she
name
didn't
though.
win.
I think it's
I couldn't
I
win.
think that's her name.
I couldn't win the waifu war. Why? None
That was the girl that wanted to dart, right? That Gara showed off the dart.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
The
And
anime was
and
really
he's
trying
like,
to
just
build
because-
us a
Just because it's not the
romantic
biggest
pairing.
weapon. I like that episode. That was a good episode.
It was a good
That
episode.
was. But what about
So yeah,
Laffy
those are the
Shino?
only
It was
three filler
amazing.
arcs those are the only three filler arcs that are good. Everything else is either meh
about-
or bleh.
He went through
Magic.
the filler arc in part one. It's the Kakashi Mask episode. That's the only one. I was like,
I actually like that one a lot.
Underneath the
But what about-
mask is another mask.
Yes. But what about the Laffy Shino? Oh my god, those are some historical
Oh, I
jokes.
forgot about
Even
that.
Gintama
That-
wish they could do
Nobody
that.
Nobody cares for
That's-
life.
Bad. Just bad. And
What
then
about the fake guy and fake Lee?
bad.
But
they
what
all
about the
bad.
time where they made a fake Naruto, Hinata, and Kiba, and they had to chase them around in Konoha? What
Bad.
about that one? It was amazing when Naruto got so Naruto was pissed off at everything, but he still remained calm until he found out his home was raided by the fake one, and all his ramen was gone. So he was so upset he went QB. Come on, that's amazing.
I got 3 letters. Hold on. I got 3 letters to say. BAD.
Oh god.
What about
Fine.
the ones
No.
with the Hinata and the bees? Yeah, file that one under bad too.
And what's
Oh, God.
even worse is that, that was one piece of. Jumping ahead into part 2, when Hinata went up against Pain, the anime could have used an opportunity to use the bee killing jutsu as a way to connect the filler to that, but no, they didn't. So she ends up learning a superfluous bee killing jutsu.
Yeah.
That's your disappointment. The disappointment is they used the high budget for this particular episode, and then they used the Looney Tune animators for the next one.
And by the way, you Hinata fans out there, you're all pedophiles now because of that episode. Because she's naked in the waterfall. Sick
That's all I
freaks.
had to. Well, in their defense, well, not defense. I don't
No,
even know what's a better way to say
no,
it.
no defense.
No. There's no defense. It's hard to say it. Okay, there's no defense, but the anime did it with the same thing with Sakura back in the 101 episode, no 102 episode with the Kakashi one. I remember that was how strange it was. Like all because they want to see Kakashi face. Then they have a camera angle shot, a wide angle shot, where Sakura is pretty much in a position to say, "Look at that." It's bizarre. So I was like, okay. I was like, God
I
damn.
remember. I was like, what?
I was like,
Yeah,
I was
but
like,
but we
12
didn't
years
brag
old.
about it.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't brag about it. I remember all the Hinata fans are like, "Oh my God, Naruto saw her naked in a waterfall," and I was like, "Why are you all bragging about that? She's 12 years old."
And it's filler. More importantly, it's a
Sick,
filler.
you know.
But
Come
yeah,
on, at least-
bee killing jutsu. What a wasted opportunity that was.
What about the rich kid? What about the rich kid that throws money to
Bad.
make his gesture?
Bad.
How is that bad?
Because first off, you throughout the episode, you just want to punch the snot out of this kid.
I know I did.
What about
Can you guys hear me? Okay, there
yes,
we
we can hear you.
Wait,
Okay.
hold on. Well, what about the episode where Naruto
Alright,
had to
good.
deal with the shinobi ghost? What about that one? Wasn't that one good?
Yeah, he
No.
threw
Alright.
his Rasengan to stop it.
Well,
He
no.
threw
Which
his
one? Because there was
Rasengan.
that happened twice. Once
Okay.
where he had to go to what was it? There was a haunted house one, and one where there was this whole internal conflict of between 3 people.
Mhm.
The land of
Yeah.
egrets, I think it was called.
I think so.
That happened twice.
I forgot about that.
Okay.
But the
Full Life.
Haunted House one, he throw his Rasengan. Who
By the
said
way-
you need to have Raisen Shuriken? What?
In terms of that,
well, in the English, in the English dub, he says zoinks. So you know.
So anyway, in terms
Like
of
Zoinks, man.
okay, by the way, Full Life, I was going to say, in terms of that filler with that Sand Kenichi, I feel like the only reason she ever got popular was because of that filler arc.
Well, yeah, duh.
Duh.
but what about the time where the episode legitimately titled Naruto dies? That was like
Oh yeah, what a oh yeah, wow! I can't believe they actually did it. It's not like I haven't read the manga.
Sorry, I remember I saw that title. I was like, "What? They really named that?" You thought the editor note that says, "Oh my God, Obito has Naruto baby. Is he gonna kill him?" Like, I don't know. Will you tell me?
You believe in paradox dimensions?
Okay, should we get on to part 2 now?
I think we
Is
should.
this Attack on Titan twist?
Full Life, shut up, or I will start reading Gintama again.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, like as much as
Bottom line is filler hell has sucked. Go. I'm
look,
sorry.
as much as we can enjoy being you talking about fillers, I can go on for 2 hours. I'll be honest. I would be totally up for that. But
We'll do another podcast about filler episodes. I guess if we can always come back to this one.
Please sign me up. I would love. Like the fact that I actually revisit is already what the F moment from out of my life.
Still want to do a Star Wars one with you.
Oh God, that whole can of worms right there.
we can make that.
All right,
6th
we gotta
year
focus.
anniversary.
We gotta focus, guys.
Who knows? But anyway, so now we are on to part 2, and this is where my change in attitude is going to come. I'm just going to warn you guys right now.
Everyone's changing attitude, dude. You're not the only one.
Here's the thing. Setup, conflict, and climax and resolution. Well, let's talk about the setup real quick. So essentially you have two setups. Not two climaxes, 2 setups. You've got the entire setup with the Akatsuki that was already laid out at the end of part 1. And then you got the Sasuke plotline, which, I hate saying it, is over the overall focus of part 2. Like, when you really look at it in hindsight, that's what it is. And I'm like, really?
When most face it, more people are more interested in the Akatsuki stuff.
Well, see, here's the thing. A lot of people, myself included, I prefer the first half of part 2 because it was primarily, Sasuke was there, but it was primarily on Naruto. And you kind of got to see what happened. You've seen how, is he still kind of a goof? Sure. But he's not like that 100%. He's got some serious grounds now that he's kind of adapted from the end of part 1, which was good. Yet, here's the thing. Second you throw Sasuke in the middle of the first half of part 2, just goes down. I don't know. And it's not just Naruto. It's all the characters. Kakashi, Sakura, which... That's another thing I want to bring up. Sakura, setup-wise, was great.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say that right now. Like, when I saw Sakura, I was like, ooh, Naruto, you better do something good.
Damn me. Something in my parents have been stricken with rigor mortis.
See, when Sakura and Naruto first laid eyes on each other, they were blushing. You could tell.
I was like, kiss right now, kiss right now.
Do it.
You know, I kind of noticed that the anime seemed to remove the blushing quite a bit.
Wonder why. So, you've got stuff there in the setup, which one of them works out pretty well, and one of them, in terms of the setup, works to a degree. I'll say that right now. It works to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with that other setup is the fact that it gets overplayed a lot. But what about you guys?
Wait, between Naruto and Sakura, or Sasuke and Naruto?
No, like in terms of
the setup, the Akatsuki plotline and the Sasuke plotline.
Akatsuki not so much. The Sasuke, oh yeah, we never stop hearing it. I mean, how many times did we see the Uchiha massacre? Like,
Too
Too many times.
Let's see, but yeah.
I mean, let me put it this way: imagine watching Haruhi Suzumiya, the Endless 8 episodes, but it's about, but only one little minor thing changes each retelling. It's hard to talk about part 2. I'm not gonna lie, because okay, so one thing we have to keep in mind here is that Yahagi, who was Kishimoto's first editor, is only up to a certain point. And the reason why I bring this up is because you can see the tonal shift almost instantaneously as soon as things change.
Oh yeah.
We know for a fact that the final chapters is all the way up to the pain arc, which is a little down the road, but that's basically where Yahagi kind of like steps away from being the editor. And that's where things take a massive tonal shift. But starting out, so we get Naruto, we get Sakura, we get Kakashi, and you see how their dynamics as a character have become. You see Sakura is more caring and loving, but still has the tsundere tendencies of punching him when he's being brash or is not being mature for his age.
Being too overconfident.
Yeah, but this is not abuse, okay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to mention this right now again for people listening. This is not abuse. This is a trope. This is considered Japanese comedy. It's kind of like Blue Star here is British, and in British comedy they love fart jokes. America.
Well, okay. No, it's not all fart jokes, though. Granted, I will admit we do have a bit of men dressing in women's clothing quite a bit,
and fart jokes.
Okay, fine.
I watch Monty Python. You can't lie to me.
Alright, fine. Yes, there's probably a lot more dritzy fart jokes. That and the jokes about a ball or a drink of pint. But hey.
Yeah. But that's my point. Is a lot of people are like, "Well, this is abuse." No, if some of you, it seems like you only watch Naruto, and that was the only series that you watched because you're like, okay, well, Sakura's hitting Naruto. Yeah, but Naruto gets back up just fine, not but a couple seconds later. It's meant to play for comedy.
I mean, if it was more in a serious tone, then yes. Let's see. Yeah, you could have issues with it, but unfortunately, you would see it's more of a society. It's more for just a type of comedy of Japan. The only way it's going to change is if the Japanese society itself changes, but there's no sign of that changing at the moment.
But here's the thing, though. It's only in Naruto where people complain. If Nami in One Piece does it to Luffy, no complaint. Lucy does it to Natsu in Fairy Tail, nothing. Rukia to Ichigo, nothing. Naruto is like the only one where you are like, oh, that's abusive. And I'm like, well, what about the other series then? They pass?
Oh God, yeah.
See, that's a sign where you can tell these are new fans and they're new to the entire world of anime and manga, let alone how Japan sees their comedic fashion. Yeah, that's pretty much common thing that has been going on in anime and manga for I don't know how long, but it's been there for so long. It's pretty much a second nature. So I don't know.
Now, come to think of it, I'm told that the Pokemon anime, the America 4Kids censored Misty's more violent outbursts towards Ash and Brock. So, hey.
It's still there. Like I kind of revisit the Indigo Plateau region arc. I don't know what they call it again. Pretty much I revisit some, and I can see where the hate could came from. Like, it's like maybe it's just the English dub that made it obnoxious at some point, but who knows? So, but that seems to be the case.
Because I think Ash was slapped by Misty in the anime in the first episode, but they didn't show the slap in the thing.
Well, yeah, but still, it's like the choice of words. Like, say, like the part where I forgot what episode was it, but I was like, Misty was like, I'm really worried. It's like, and then Ash is like, oh, now you worry about you? Now you worry about me? I'm not talking about you. It seems like, well, that's still rude. I guess it's just the dialogue. I can't say because I know the dialogue is different from the original one.
But I'm just saying that we're setting up the dynamic between Naruto and between Naruto and Sakura and how they both changed.
Oh yeah,
from the part one counter cells.
in many ways, they enjoy hanging out a bit more. Sakura's a bit more willing to go on dates with Naruto, but he still has to pay for them all.
Yeah.
Because, let's see, that never changes.
Here's the interesting thing, though, with that is within Naruto and Sakura's relationship, like, she sees the more darker elements in Naruto that she didn't see in the first part, which I think doesn't really get enough mention.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I think one thing is that she's now more aware of the nine-tailed fox. And the fact that, let's see, Naruto's got these, S-class criminals hunting him down who have done heinous crimes.
Well,
Yeah.
she becomes more aware that when they go off to rescue Gaara from from the Akatsuki, she's it's truly, you see it, you see her world expanding in that arc. It's like
she learns about the tailed beasts, the Jinchuriki, stuff like that, and even learns a bit of how some shinobi have lost their humanity, like Sasori, when it comes to their fighting.
She gets to learn about that. She gets to see just how pissed he gets off too. That's the other thing.
Let's see. One thing I do kind of like is that neither of them are as impressed with Kakashi as they used to be.
Yeah.
And Kakashi's a bit sad about that.
And Naruto gave Kakashi porn as a present.
Just Action 101.
Yeah, and they probably realized just how their sensei has quite a few uncool moments about him.
I do have to admit the one scene of like Kakashi like nearly shitting himself after Sakura broke up the ground with her straight punch.
I was like, "Whoa, what a!"
Kakashi was like, "What the?"
Let's see. My only real complaint about that one chapter is I wish it lasted longer. Granted, because it looked like we skipped much of it out, and the rest of it was done in filler. Though, granted, filler didn't really give us much. They just repeated stuff that happened in the first bell test.
Speaking of which,
yeah, I remember.
Speaking of which, I went to actually a big discussion with this. I'm gonna make a shout out here real quick because I actually have a coworker who also is into Naruto and actually is, I think, also a Narusaku shipper.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been discussing Naruto with him, and he always laughs at me when I talk about the issues with the story. But he's a really good friend. But his name is Dylan, by the way. So if he's listening, and he probably is, because I'm going to send him the link about this because he's really interested. But hey, Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
But he was talking to me about some of the elements, and he's like, I just started getting into the Naruto series, and we were discussing about, and he's just like, yeah, how come some of this like these kind of relationship dynamics have just kind of like they were really good starting out in part 2, and then they just kind of like what happened? You know?
That's it. But yeah, one thing that I also quite amused is that Naruto learns that all his friends have either become Chunin or Jonin, or Gaara's become Kazekage.
Wait, let's be honest, kind of becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, if going outside of our discussions here, if you're, for anyone who read fan fiction during the heyday of Part 2, a lot of the early fanfics dealt with Naruto still being a Genin, and like there was, a tuning exam he attended, and as time went on, that genre sort of became more redundant as he got more powerful, to the point where it sort of just became like, oh, hey, let's write, something, jokey about how powerful Naruto is, but still has to do the Chunin exams. It's like,
isn't Hinata also a Genin?
No, she's the Chunin.
No, she's a Chunin.
Chunin.
Yeah, she somehow managed to graduate. The only one that's still a Genin besides Naruto is Sasuke, but that's because, he doesn't care about the exams.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm confusing Chunin with Jonin, because I think everybody else gets. Most of the other characters actually get up to Jonin level, and then Hinata's still Chunin, and Naruto is still Genin, technically, but.
I suppose this is a bit of a problem with the whole ninja system thing. You need you have let's see, you have Genin, Chunin, and Jonin, but it feels like the way how to become a Chunin is set up, so few people do it, but yet you have all the characters in parts, all the Naruto's friends become Chunin by the time skip. Not to mention there's a lot more Jonin and all that stuff, so it feels like there's been like other ways to become Chunin that should have been introduced throughout the series than just that exam.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's like with that whole thing, it's like, oh, Naruto's still a Genin. It gets completely glossed over to the point where you're like, oh, he's still a Genin?
It becomes a trend in this series where stuff gets kind of like off the cuff of their sleeve, hand waved.
Granted, I guess you could argue it shows that rank doesn't really matter, but still, given that you'd see it was structured from the beginning that, okay, these ranks matter if you want to do more dangerous missions. But anyway, during the whole setup, let's see, we get two new Akatsuki members, Dedora and Sasori, two had become fan favorites.
But, like, that's the thing, like, even, like, the Akatsuki become, of course, like, a bigger deal, because that's one of the setups that's happening throughout part 2. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, in terms of how the Akatsuki are set up, I think they work, but they don't work. If that makes any sense.
Well, I think one big problem.
I think it also has to more so do with like how it's structured, because if you were to compare part 1 to part 2, part 1 is obviously the more cohesive one out of the two. That's one thing I'll say. Because like, even if you look at like the first half of part 2, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, because we get Datara and Sasori, then Hidan and Kakazu.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that before you interrupted me, Blue Star, like always.
Sorry.
And then they immediately jump to the boss, Pain and Conan. Pain especially. It's like there weren't any more in betweens. It was just those 6. And it ended up being those 6 because, lo and behold, we find out that who we thought was the dumb one isn't the dumb one.
Toby's a good boy.
What a twist!
Toby is a good boy. There's only 2 real major conflicts within part 2. There's the Akatsuki, and then there's the Uchiha. Not just Sasuke, not just Obito, and not just Kaguya. If we really want to stretch that far, but just the Uchiha in general. Whereas compared to part 1, we get let's see, we have the sound. Again, the interrupting. Stop it, please. And I'm using please this time. Next time, I'm not going to be so polite. We had Zabuza. We had the Sound Ninja. We had Orochimaru overall, and we also had Orochimaru's Sound 4. Whereas now we're gonna, moving on into part 2, we only get 9. We get 9 members of the Akatsuki plus, but once they're just reduced to just Kisame and what's the planet?
Setsu.
Shut the fuck up. There, sorry. I am done being polite.
Sorry. It looked like you forgot his name.
There is a saying called tip of my tongue, and it's there for a reason.
Sorry.
So, seems like part 2 discussion has gotten darker.
So once the Akatsuki's numbers are just reduced to Kisame and Zetsu, we get Obito now we get Obito running the circus. And for a while it seems like he's actually kind of, again, we sort of get this whole mirror with Naruto. As in, this is what Naruto could have been. Except, unlike with Gaara, Obito his reasoning for being evil is just bleh, for lack of a better term.
Let's see.
My girlfriend died because Kakashi killed her.
Should we?
without knowing the entire backstory to that. And thus, when he becomes manipulated by Madara, it ends up being dumb. Helped by the fact that basically it's all for naught. He ends up becoming good anyway. But that's just my view.
But that's the thing I also kind of want to add on is that, yeah, like, look, the first half of part 2 like has some good moments in it, and you guys can tell me your thoughts on this, but do you get the idea that things just happen and don't flow naturally? Because every time I look at part 2 now, even more so in the first half, like I kind of look at it going like I like the stuff that are there, but
I'd say
feel natural in terms of
I feel like
progression.
I feel like, let's see, the first 2 arcs flow quite nicely together, and the last 2 arcs of part, let's see, the Itachi arc and the Pain arc, I think they flow quite well, but I think it's just what comes in between them. I mean, let's see, with the Hidden and Kazu arc, I think that's where it sort of goes out of place. I think this is partly due to the fact that I think you mentioned that you showed that video about how Kishimoto had some back injuries or illnesses at the time, so he kind of rushed that arc.
Yeah, he had to rush the Hidon and Kazu arc, from what I remember.
And I think another problem is that while members of the Akatsuki were being reduced, there was nothing to replace them with at the time.
I could think that there's a lot of stuff in part 2 that you could see where the influences start to take effect, especially when the time that Kishimoto's father passed away, and you could see the series get really super dark. Kishimoto went to a really dark place.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple places...
2?
Yeah.
I felt like it got lighter.
Well, I would say some of the early stuff of part 2 was quite dark. I mean, Hidon having his head chopped off was an example.
Well, it kind of got really dark when Obito backstory started getting in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, backstories tend to be dark. That's like a number 1 rule, or a hidden, or unwritten
One
rule
Piece,
of shonen.
One Piece
all backstory is it's arguably the most darkest out of all the series today, but that's arguable.
Mm-hmm.
But for Naruto, the early days of part 2 was pretty dark. It was kind of funny because I almost believed it when I was a kid, where they say like the reason why anime don't want to go part 2 at all is because part 2 is dark. Like, really? Like, I almost believe that too.
Well, I think, let's see, it was initially dark. I mean, you had Deidara blowing up, let's see, random sand guys in the face. Let's see, you had Hidon's head chopped off. You had him later blown to bits.
That arc itself was the most, I guess, graphic in a sense, because
because Hidon's a very graphic character.
You can actually just have none but beheaded dismemberments all day, every day. And I think it's pretty bloody for his own right.
I think it's possibly possible that Naruto got too big towards the end, that they decided to bring it down to more of a PG than PG-13.
Yeah, that seems like that's the effect of certain series today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know, like even like Dragon Ball, for example, like Dragon Ball Super has got much lighter compared to DBZ for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only because they're in a different broadcast channel. I mean, it was already heavily hinted when you look at Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is pretty much a remake or remaster or whatever you want to call it. And once they got to the part where Goku gets Special Beat Cannon along with Raditz, that's a major indication what standard today they live in. And it's definitely far different from, well, not far different, it's exaggerated, but it's different from today's era compared to the old eras. Like,
I'd even argue Game of Thrones went from a bit dark and edgy to a bit more, PG violence towards the end of its season, but hey.
Well, that's a different story. But the point is I feel like if your series starts off in a more like, hey, we're establishing, this is Shonen Jump, this Shonen series and Shonen Jump, but we're pretty dark, so we gotta air it at this time. You okay with that? That's how we're gonna roll. We're not gonna put ourselves in the those Saturday morning cartoon time slot. Well, it's not really Saturday morning, but it's one of those time slots to say these are something that everybody, the general audience, are going to watch, not Adult Swim level of audience are going to watch. Which is why, like, with Gintama, for example, it remains the exact same thing as Violent Nature because it's in that airtime. Like, you got people getting losing their heads. You got people just saying like, "Hey, if you beheaded this person and you give me it as evidence, I'll take it." You get
And
those
pornographic.
Mhm.
but yeah, like, and swears. They can say swears English term in a very in a straightforward. They could say the F word
Not to mention
pretty
poop
normal.
jokes.
Well, yeah, that too.
But anyway,
Yeah, but like when you put it on the time slot on a normal audience, it seems like you have to tone down, and it kind of feels that's the case because I'm not gonna mention series, but there are series that feels like something got toned down for some reason. I'm like, it's because your anime went there now, so I don't know, but that's all
but-
for the different discussion.
Yeah. But see, I think another problem that happened with like part 2 is the way Kishimoto introduced more new characters, but could not find what to do with them all. I mean, on one hand, on paper, Kishimoto kind of had an idea with like all the side characters. They'd each get one arc where they'd be the focus or support in. For example, Team Guy for the first arc, along with the Sand siblings. Let's see, introduced new characters to Team 7 for the second arc. Team 10 focused on that one, and Team 7 supporting in that one. See, Team 7 and 8 go out to find Sasuke, and then the Pain arc was mostly Pain and Naruto. Wouldn't you agree with that, Lucky Chi? Or
For the most part, I would.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, on paper, let's see, having like one team focus support for each arc was a good idea, but in execution, it was kind of poor because they did too little or whatever they did was done off screen.
No, here's what I want to add on to that. My problem is, do they have a significant impact post that arc? And the short answer is no, they don't.
I feel like if Kishimoto better planned it and stuff, they have one focus in each arc, and when they get focused again, it'd be on the Pain arc, where you can see how they've improved from the beginning of part 2 to where they are now.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say that like a good series comparison I can make this to, and I'm gonna make the comparison to Kenshin because when Kenshin, like when you get introduced to the characters and you see what they go through in like a particular arc, I'm not gonna say they're different, but you can see how what they went through has already kind of affected them in a small yet subtle way. And even more so like when you go to like the other arcs of the story. But Naruto is more so in part 2 is that once a fight happens, they're just there just to be there. Like Kiba doesn't really get like a big significant moment. Like imagine if, say, who were the main two in the Pursue Itachi arc?
It was focused on Sasuke and Jiraiya.
No, like Akatsuki wise.
Oh, Akatsuki wise. At first, it appeared to be Dedera and Toby. Then it went to Pain, and then it went to Itachi.
Like so. Imagine like if say Deidara had like an influence on I don't know like Kiba or Sheena or like something to make the other characters give a little more spotlight and a little bit more importance. Instead of it being like, well, we're just here because y'all need help.
I've never seen a series named after one of its characters that didn't focus on its character.
But yeah, you'd think the main character would get a fight each arc, and to be fair,
like 3 arcs. 3 arcs.
It's not even that. It's.
I mean, I get
Naruto doesn't really
fight until Pain, but you know.
But Naruto is stagnant throughout the entire part 2. He gets some growth here and there, but he's very extremely stagnant, and it seems like Sasuke is the one that mostly develops through story impact. His brother is part of Itachi, so he thinks the brother is evil, so he goes after him. And then he finds out that the brother was actually a good the entire time, and it was Danzo who was evil. And then the brother had to make the hard sacrifice and the choices. Then Sasuke learns all these lessons from different things and everything. It's like, well, what about Naruto? What's Naruto doing? Sasuke, I gotta bring Sasuke back, and it's like, well, why? What does it mean to be Hokage, Naruto? I mean, what? Okay, you want to be Hokage. You want to be loved by the village. You want to have Sakura because that was one of the things you said, and you want to bring peace to the land. There's nothing really you're doing to go to learn why are these important to you.
I think, let's see, there are only 2 cases when he's not focused on Sasuke, and that's when he's trying to rescue Gaara, even though there probably should have been an arc or so before this where it showed the two becoming friends, and the pain arc, and when he learns that his mentor Jiraiya is dead, and he's solely focused on trying to kill Pain at this point. Let's see, nothing else matters.
Here's the thing with the Pain thing, though. It's not Naruto that brings in a Pain zone. Like, oh, was it because Sasuke's what? Well, no, hold on. I don't know if he's the one who mentioned the Akatsuki thing, but I remember Pain made like a blatantly reference to Sasuke, and like that triggered him. I'm like, really?
I feel like if you're gonna have Pain mention the Sasuke thing, if you're gonna have him bring it up, you should have probably brought up that he's now a member of the Akatsuki, or try to tease Naruto that Sasuke's become a member of the Akatsuki. But no, Naruto doesn't find out until the Cloud Ninjas mention it. But yeah, there does feel like there's a long gap where Naruto faces an opponent. Granted, in the beginning, you could say he had quite a fair share with like the duplicate of Itachi, Deidara, Orochimaru, even though that was more of the Nine Tails, and then Kakazu. But there feels like there's a bit of a gap between that and when he fights Pain.
I don't know. Naruto just doesn't. I can't. The more I think about it, the worse the series seems to be to me. And I get the fights and I get everything like that, but it's just like, okay, Naruto, you want to be Hokage, right? Yeah. Well, didn't you learn that to be Hokage, it's more than just being the strongest? You have to be a good leader. Didn't anybody teach you about that one? Even Itachi talked to you about that, and you learn nothing.
That's funny that you mentioned that way, because it's the same thing that's happening in the current modern era. You want to be the greatest, you said. So everybody's saying, well, if you're the greatest, that means you have to be the strongest. It's like,
Yeah.
Really? I did not know the definition. Apparently, it's vice versa in today's era. Go figure.
Anyway, but yeah, I just
But
will
then
say
again, this is their way to defend their favorite series. But all right, but let me put my 2 cents. See, this is sad because like before entering part 2, like I said before in part 1, resolution, everything is set up nicely for what's to come. You got Sakura about to get finally the long lasting training. You got Akatsuki. You know how Akatsuki are capable of. Well, you only know snippet, but that's enough for you to tell you like, oh my god, these guys are really powerful. Orochimaru is still threatening, and he's gonna get his body renewed thanks to Sasuke, which is a part of the Konoha, but now he has deserted them. There's like a lot of things that's set up. So you don't know what's gonna happen in the future. You don't know exactly. You can only predict. You didn't expect Naruto will be like, man, I finally could save Sasuke. Man, I finally can reach out Sasuke. Man, I can finally meet Sasuke.
And the sad thing is that's all part 2 is for Naruto, is that.
Yeah, it's like, see that, and that's the problem, and that's why everybody was always scared. Whatever the new series does, like, you got a rival, check. This rival is gonna turn to the dark side. Please do not check that. Please, I beg of you, do not check that. Do that.
And it ends up happening anyway.
Yeah, well, again, my hero almost shot himself in the foot.
Almost.
Nearly. It's just it only glazed the
Black
pinky
Clover
toe.
almost did it too. That's funny.
let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Black
One
Clover did a troll in a sense, but it did it so nicely that I was like, we are safe.
Let's see. One thing I think that was also frustrating when it came to the whole Pain arc with like different opponents for everyone to face is when you saw the anime opening for that arc, you think, if you're an anime watcher, you think, oh shit, all these epic fights are going down. But then you find out, wait, none of these actually happened.
Nope.
Yeah.
It
Uh,
had a whole wasted arc with the samurai that made no sense, didn't add anything to the damn plot, and we completely just cut it out, and you don't miss a thing.
Well, we will get to that in a bit, but
What's the matter? Mifune not good enough?
let's see, I think we should wait for that until we get to the war.
Oh, Mifune.
But yeah,
all I'm saying is
Why
that,
aren't
all
we
I'm saying
already
is-
there?
no, yeah, we haven't even done the Kage Summit.
Ugh.
So I guess you could say Naruto is like the very for many people. I'm not sure if I could speak for you guys, but I guess you could say Naruto is like one of the first series that you could say like your expectation was so high that it destroyed you so much. Every other after series, you pretty much
Yeah.
lower your expectation because of Naruto.
Yes, Naruto was my first proper manga, not counting Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, and sometimes Digimon.
Mm-hmm. Yo, you read Digimon in manga?
Well, I mainly watched season 3 of Digimon.
Oh, you mean the anime? Okay. No,
Yeah.
you gave me the impression you talk about manga. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
okay. I was watching the cartoons. Let's see, Naruto was the first manga I ever read.
So, the Kage Summit arc.
Depending on how you go, this is where the series went downhill.
Here's when this series went downhill. When this, okay, look, Naruto went from being the hero of the league, and I bring that up every time when Naruto's being talked about. We went from him being respected, we went from him being acknowledged, to hyperventilating. Hyperventilating, because, oh no, Sasuke's gonna get killed.
Oh yeah.
Handle it. Someone, give me a pacifier. I'm like, what just happened?
You know, back then I guess I take it differently. I mean, it's not that my opinion about him hyperventilating is bad. I mean, like it happens to people. That's true. You know, I'm thinking that now, but still, the context of it is what still bothers me because it's all based on Sasuke once again. Like I know a lot of people are more upset the fact he hyperventing, like as if nobody actually passed out. A lot of people do pass out real life.
Oh, yeah.
That's a factual thing.
To be honest, I was more pissed off about the bowing thing. But hey,
well, yeah, a lot of people were too. But the one that now currently upset me is the fact that still revolves with Sasuke. Is again, we lost the Naruto that was just thinking about, straightforward, want to be Hokage. And how to be Hokage?
Honestly,
well, just get really good. Get smarter, get stronger, get this, get that. That's all fine and dandy. But then when Sasuke's evolved, I gotta find a way how to get strong as Sasuke. I gotta find a way how to convince him. I gotta find a way how to meet him. I gotta find a way to do this and that. My God, this guy is about to kill Sasuke. I should bow down and break all my character for this guy. I gotta do this and that. I just came back from an awesome arc or awesome fight that everybody praised me. I'm gonna destroy that with a bow. I'm gonna destroy that by hyperventilating on him. Everything. It's just
one thing I kind of wish that happened, even if it was just a side plot, is while something's going on with maybe Naruto's friends with the Akatsuki or Sasuke, in the side plot, Naruto's retaking the tuning exams and just getting through that, just so it's saying, hey, it's the Hokage plot is still there, even if it's just being focused on the side, at least. But hey.
Here's the thing about that. Instead of him hyperventilating, I would have had Naruto to be like, look, I'll deal with Sasuke.
I mean, all you have to do is just have Naruto just do the same reaction he had when Gaara told him the day of your days of Team Sevens is over. I'm sorry, and then you just see the glass breaks of Team Seven, just a picture. That's all you could do, and just have him rest. You don't need to make him pass out. Just have him very discouraged and try to think over what the hell he's gonna do now, and then act like he fell asleep just to escape from Yamato. That's all he has to do. You don't need to pass out, legitimately pass out, which is again, it's hard to just buy in. You're 4 or 5 arc in, and you're still doing the same thing. It's no longer, for lack of a better word, it's no longer cute. It's no longer cute for
Yeah.
these two bromans. It's
Like,
done.
it made sense in the Science Sasuke arc, but when you're that far deep into part 2, it's like, change it up a bit, you know?
Right.
And
Enough
it goes
is
back
enough.
to what I originally said about what kind of bond does Sasuke and Naruto really have to warrant
Mhm.
this kind of behavior. And
Right.
you go back and look at it, and hindsight is they didn't have that strong a relationship in the first place, so why is Naruto acting like he's about to lose his one thing he loved in life?
I mean,
Like
to be
he's-
honest, sorry,
like someone kicked his dog or something, you know? Like
heck, Sasuke doesn't really pay much attention to Naruto until he realizes that Naruto's going to get in his way.
Well, it's worse with Sakura, but yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, let's see. Honestly, when you have Sakura interacting with any character, be it Naruto, Chio, Sai, Ino, Lee, you enjoy her presence. But when you have her thinking about Sasuke, it's just not good. It's
It
just
sucks to be
toxic.
Sai.
As is any character.
It sucks to be Sai. That's all I can say.
yeah, which by the way, he only got to where he is today in the story because he looks like Sasuke. But
Not only that, but like he only got so minimum just because apparently the fans did not like him, and even Kishimoto in the interview even stated that. So
Let's see. I mean,
he didn't state it that he ignored him, but he pretty much stated that he wasn't favorable. So in a
Let's-
sense, you give it the idea, like, if that's the case, and you just thought yourself, I'm not gonna build his character anymore. I believe
let's
it.
see. One way
Man.
you could have seen Sai and even Sakura build a bit is, when Team 7 arrives to back up Team 10 against Kakazu, they'll look like they're battle ready to fight, but only Naruto deals with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it could have been a good way to show how this new Team Yamato functions as a team, but nope. Let's see. I mean, the only time when you actually see Sai fight is when the war begins, and let's see, he teams up with Kankuro and that cloud ninja Omi against Dedra and Sasasori and his deceased brother. That's the only time when you actually see Sai actually fight at all in this series.
Honestly, as far as the 5 Kage Summit is concerned, there were definitely more bad moments than there were good moments. As a matter of fact, I can only count 2 good moments off at the top of my head. And it's Sasuke versus Danzo and Sasuke versus Kakashi. That's it.
What about, let's see, when Killer Bee and Kisame had a fight? That was enjoyable. Heck, anything with
No.
Killer Bee is enjoyable.
No. Because it's superfluous in the end.
How dare you?
I'm with you, Lucky J. I just hated when Naruto hyperventilated like that. And it's like, it was completely out of left field then, and it's completely out of left field now. What warranted that type of response? What warranted that type of response when the Raikage told him he's going to be hunted down and we will kill him on sight? It's just, I'd understand if he got angry about it, but to hyperventilate like that and then faint, whether you were beat up earlier or not, that should not be your reaction to that.
No, it shouldn't.
Otherwise, the Sasuke versus Danzo fight being one of the few good moments about that whole arc, it was really interesting to get into Danzo's head. Like, it's there where you truly find out that I forget the term for this. I think it's lawful good or lawful evil.
I think so.
And I'm sure people online are going to correct me on this, but it's like he was always the sort of guy that did the behind the scenes stuff and that doing stuff for the greater good and all that.
I always felt he was more chaotic good, sort of like
See,
general.
that's actually the That's actually the term I was looking
well,
for. But,
I'm reminded of General Zod from Man of Steel. You know, when he said, when he says, I was a soldier for my people, and everything I did was for the greater good of my people. Or no matter everything I did, no matter how violent or how cruel, was for the greater good of my people. That's kind of Danzo in a nutshell.
Yeah, though granted, Danzo did not realize until too late that his actions actually created more enemies than getting rid of them. After all, without Danzo, you wouldn't have the rise of Pain or Nagato.
Yeah.
Let's see, you wouldn't have Kabuto go down the path he did, and even Sasuke with his revenge against the Leaf.
Yeah, but I agree with both of you, Steve and Lucky Chi, that hyperventilating and everything like that's just that pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie, that pissed me off, especially with the whole soccer confession thing and you're lying to me business.
On one hand, I suppose it's kind of good that the two had an argument for once, but because every couples have an argument, but I guess it's just the wrong focus. Heck, when you have the K9 all get together for once, it's talking about Sasuke rather than just anything else.
Yeah, especially in the end, overall, it all led to nothing anyway.
Uh-huh.
He cared so much about Sasuke that when he finally turned Sasuke good, and they're like, okay, bye, and then he leaves, and then he doesn't come back to the village anyway, and it's just like, so what was everything you just did?
Honestly, I feel like if there should have been like a brief conflict with maybe Sasuke and his Taka team against the K11, just so they see just what has become of Sasuke as of late.
Sasuke should have totally did a Darth Vader.
He should.
And I don't mean that in a sense of because I hate Sasuke, because I do, but it would have made his character complete.
It would have.
So anyway, the confining Jinchuriki arc, which was pretty much focuses on Naruto's backstory.
how about we envelop that with the war arc in
Okay,
general?
sure, fine, whatever.
Because that happened concurrently
With the war.
Arc.
I will.
I don't want to harp too much on Naruto meeting his mother. That was fine. Him bonding with the Nine-Tailed Fox, that was also fine. Him conquering his darker half, I don't know. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that before I give my thoughts on that.
I'll say
You don't
that,
like him brace the hug? Hug me.
I'll say this. When it comes to Naruto's darker half, I wish we got more of an insight on that, because, I mean, was it interesting to see? Yeah, it was, but sort of came out of left field. Like, oh yeah, you have a darker half, like.
I'll tell you what came out of left field: the Killer Bee relationship with this guy.
Well, that's it.
Well, to be fair, it was a fun interaction. To be fair.
Well, yeah, but yeah, it felt very whatever. Okay, fine. I'll let it pass. It just seems like I remember because it covered one chapter. Boy, how you guys are friends? That's a good question. And then the entire chapter is just I do wonder if he remembers me. Oh, sure, he do remember me. Fist pound. And then we never hear them again. So, yay.
With the confining the jerky arc, I would argue that it's maybe the second best arc, like right behind Pain. At least for me, I would make that argument.
That's fine. See,
Because
I was like,
you finally again you have an arc that's like specifically on Naruto, and like really getting his backstory, and then him meeting his mom, which I thought was pretty cool.
yes. Drop a hint that didn't lead to anywhere, right, guys?
Yeah.
Find a guy
actually
like me.
that whole darkness thing, I think that should have been something that should have been touched upon before he faced Pain.
Oh yeah,
because it's especially with that armor again, the armor piercing question of Pain. What's your answer? How are you going to get world peace? And Naruto's like, I don't know, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying to find the answer. Just because I don't know it now doesn't mean I will never know the answer. And that's why I thought the Pain arc was like the last best arc in part 2, because of that Naruto, despite him admitting that he doesn't know, he says, "I'm still going to try to find that answer."
Well, for the first time, Naruto faced an opponent that left him speechless.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Pain practically made Akatsuki look like the good guy. Huh.
And that's the sad part is Nagato was right.
Yeah, it was. Especially about part 1, that's an interesting book. Part 2, it's kind of disappointing. Part 3 is where the excitement is at. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's another story.
But,
But if anything, the dark side of Naruto, I kind of wish it was presented before the Pain arc, and that way, when after dealing with Pain, maybe Naruto could revisit to the darkness of Naruto and then actually give him the answer. That would be like, see, he learned things.
Yeah, that was kind of my whole issue with Dark Naruto. As insightful as that was, it it should have happened earlier. Just either like the most logical place it could have happened was during his training as a sage.
Oh yeah, right there.
Whatever. What? Go ahead.
The funny thing is, one of the filler actually built up for the darkness of Naruto. You do, because if I remember right, because I think it was a nightmare, or maybe maybe it happened in real time. I don't remember. Well, I remember something. I think it was like something with the Naruto clones were fighting against him or something like that, and it kind of foreshadowed that there's like a darker side. I forgot. It's something like, I think I don't know. I hope I'm remembering right, because I remember it was like, that's interesting. They actually foreshadow what's about to happen when he gets to the island. I don't remember it was the one where the shadow clones were going against Naruto. I don't remember if that happened in real time or that was a dream. Well, I remember it started off comical, especially when they're protesting. Nobody remember that. Okay.
See, honestly, I think you're too obsessed with fillers.
No. I'm serious. Like,
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing
I'm
you.
just saying.
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
I did not revisit the fillers for part 2, unfortunately. I'm sorry for the bad news, everybody. I'm sorry.
I didn't watch the anime. I couldn't stomach all the Hinata praising in the anime, so I stopped.
But what about guy versus guy? You gotta see that fight.
I stopped watching the anime after all the fillers in part 1 of Hinata. So,
but this is before Hinata. The guy versus guy fight is amazing. It was like the modern. It was like the back in the days of all those.
I don't like Studio Pierrot. Okay, I don't like them. They ruined. They almost ruined Yu Yu Hakusho. They ruined Bleach, and then they ruined Naruto. I don't like them.
Well, Bleach felt like it didn't get destroyed. Honestly, now Bleach was the only saving grace, huh?
We're getting off track here, guys. Now, so
the bottom line is the Jinchurukin arc, as you want to call it, was the last good thing of part 2. Everything else just goes down.
Yeah, I'd say for Naruto's character, I think his mom was like maybe the last good thing in part 2. At least for me.
Come on, we all thought it was pretty badass to have Minato back.
That too.
But yeah, I mean there are some good moments in the war arc, but overall, I guess
Naruto series where you like everybody but the main character.
Here's one word, actually not 2 words, I can describe the war arc. And Sparda's going to say, one battlefield. Done.
Yeah, seriously, one entire setting for a good 200 chapters. 200
I got another word for you. 2 days. Just 2 days.
Yes.
I have another 2 words for you. Clone Saga.
No, I wouldn't call it that.
I have another 2 war for you. Why war? Just why? Seriously.
I have 3 more words for you.
I just want.
Ass pulls everywhere.
Oh my god!
Well, I got one word. Why not?
Why not? Isn't that too?
But good, yeah, folks, the war arc was just a big old fat mess of either sudden revelations, of things that were never previously hinted upon. Kaguya! Or it just, it just tried rushing character development way too quickly to the point where where you're scratching your head going, huh, I don't think it should happen that fast. Kabuto!
Oh my
See.
god.
In many ways, it had a little bit of promise. You had, let's see,
A little bit.
Let's see. Okay. You had
The
A little
conveniences is
okay.
conveniences is amazing. I
Okay.
thought in hindsight.
I was talking
Fine,
about
go.
how the setup of the war, where you had everyone in these divisions, or let's see, characters that you previously saw with the Akatsuki, Zabuza, Leaf Ninja, and characters that you wanted to see with like the Jinchuriki and even some of the Kages. So yeah, you had all these potential matchups or all this stuff. Half of them didn't even happen. Instead, you focused on like Cloud Ninja, Samurai, and Rain Ninja, and all that stuff.
Oh, come on, Blue Star. You didn't like Mifune's fight? Mifune, man.
Yes, I needed that backstory really bad.
I
I
think
also
there was
do-
an interview. Kishimoto said that he was really proud of that fight for some reason. But go on.
Mifune.
I mean,
Well,
hey, good for you, but still, the
I-
timing. But go on.
I do want to also mention that 2 years prior to the ending of Naruto was when Naruto the Last started production.
That's true. I remember that.
So, according to the Kobayashi interviews in 2016, if you all remember any of them, and I actually had to relook up your old Tumblr post for Live to really get a better idea about this, to prepare for this. If you read those interviews, Kishimoto was basically talking that most of the war arc, he kind of just winged it. He didn't really have any significant plan. All he knew that he was going to have Naruto and Sasuke fight in the end, and that's about it. Everything else, he just kind of winged it.
Yeah, no, Sasuke is very smart to know where to go to the Valley of the End from their location. It's like you could put me all the way into South America, and I'll somehow know how to get back home.
I feel like the only part of the whole war arc that felt kind of natural was when Naruto first joined the war, where he naturally fought against Itachi and Nagato, then fighting one of the Kage Edo Tenseis, and then fighting the Jinchuriki. That felt like a gritty, stable development of his new powers to eventually form of Kurama.
Everything up until we get the Obito flashback in its entirety. Up to that, it was all right. Then I don't know what happened after that.
Okay, day one was more for many people because we focused on side character, the one that we didn't invest enough time with. So therefore, you see the effect of these fans not giving a crap anymore.
Let's see. I think the only ones people cared about were Kakashi and then Team 10.
But everyone else, pretty much, is all gimmick like, not in a good way. The whole. Hey, how many times you have say? Let's see. I think you said like 40 times. Well, Blue Star, you're dead. Get to the pot. The whole gimmick fight.
I was going to before I was going to say that one thing that I was briefly looking forward to was that you had Sakura with Kakashi, and you was expecting some sort of team up, but that didn't happen. No, that only happened in the games.
Now Sakura has to be healing up everybody in her skirts. I remember it was funny how Kishimoto decided to give her pants because the first time she got a skirt, it's like, you wear a skirt in a war? I remember. I only remember stood out like a sore thumb. Like, why she's the only wearing a skirt? Is wearing pants. Hinata's wearing pants. What are you trying to say here? So it felt so out of place that she randomly has.
I think Kishimoto was trying to keep to a bit of Sakura's Britzy Part 2 design because she wore. I know it doesn't make most sense, but I think he figured, I'm going to have everyone wearing the same outfit. I got to try and make my main characters look unique in them.
Yeah, when that it just feels very. It sticks out bad. I don't know. To me, it sticks out weirdly. It's like, okay, it's kind of off place. It's like you can't get yourself dirty because you're wearing this now. Because I remember vividly that Kishimoto did say in the interview that his main focus with female characters was to make them look pretty as much as possible. It's like, okay.
Like that was that was the problem everyone was having. The problem,
That was like
Kishimoto, is that you focused too much on the romance and didn't give them anything else otherwise.
pretty
No
much.
action, no side plot, no interactions, nada.
Nada. But like you again, day one is all boredom because hey, side character, who cares about the samurai? So what?
I mean, your
Uh,
main
the
theme. Sorry, go on.
No, and they have the convenience, and there's so much conveniences that even My Hero can't reach to that level yet.
Yet.
But it's like everything. Oh man, you know, Obito only needs, or Toby only needs Naruto and Killer Bee. But if he needs those two to advance the plot, that means they have to die. My God, is this series is really have the goal to actually kill them off? Oh wait, we have gold and silver that randomly has the perfect fit. False alarm, they're not going to die. They're not automatically going to die. Don't worry about them. They got another sacrifice to do it. Oh, forget about tension. Tension was that. Never mind. Suspenseful was that. So it's like, come on, how convenient can you get? You revive somebody that just so happened to have QB chakra. Give me a break. All because he could eat them. Get out of here.
Let's see. I'd say another. Let's see. I was going to say with
Oh,
the terms of the female character.
the best conveniences. Shit, Kabuto, I can't kill him. Why not? If I kill him, then Oda Ida Tensei, they will keep going. See, you gotta have him to
To be
deactivate them.
fair,
If you kill the hold on. If you kill the user, they're if you kill the user, the Ida Tensei is still gonna be around. So that means, yeah,
I remember
either one
scratching
way or
my
another,
head
we're
like, oh,
screwed.
what in
My
the world?
It's like,
To be
oh man, that is crazy, and that's how the chapter ended. That's how the chapter ended. So it leaves the fans going like, oh shit, this is really serious. This is something else. This makes you want to think how they're gonna handle this. Immediately next chapter, it's a good thing I could use this I. No, I forgot what
Okay.
the I name. Fucking
Is it-
conveniences beyond belief.
Izanami and Izanagi.
let's see.
Izanagi, yeah,
It's-
the most convenient and only one time use because it's convenient.
Let's see. I
It
will.
destroy all the tension from there.
Oh yeah. I mean, the idea that you shouldn't kill the guy who that can revive the dead because the dead will still run amok and out of control
Yeah.
is a
And-
sort
and
of
the-
good
and-
twist. I mean, it's like you need to
Yeah.
capture this guy alive.
Yeah, exactly. Nope. we got a perfect eye ability to handle that.
Actually, what is actually more BS than that is Kabuto coming up with the logic. You know what? I'm going to keep their personalities free so that
Yeah.
it could psychologically psych out my enemies. It's like, but that's what made them easier to seal away in the first place.
Right?
Yeah. Oh
I mean, there's probably a reason why Orochimaru would see sealed away the personalities of the first and second. I mean, in terms of personalities, it works when you have like members of the Akatsuki or other rogue ninja who don't give a
Mhm.
fuck who they're being revived
yeah.
and just witsy. But when it comes to like ninjas like Asuma and all that stuff, it doesn't really matter much.
I still stand by this day. I feel like Kishimoto just now decided that the first Hokage is the best Hokage of all time. Because I felt like back in part one, he didn't make him as like declare as the best Hokage or the god of Shinobi. Because I remember their Hokage got that title. So why
Oh,
not
yeah.
switch it to first Hokage? And I remember I don't remember what they said about Ito Tensei back then. But we saw their abilities. Now you're trying to tell me that maybe he was nerfed all this time, but if I have them 100% at that power level, you could see the true form of Hashirama. He could summon a Buddhist statue like a giant, just as big as Jubi. he's that powerful. It's like, huh? The last Edo Tensei didn't show me that.
I mean,
Now he's that powerful.
it could have probably worked if Kobuto explained, well, I can, make these Edo Tenseis more powerful. The more powerful they are, the harder they are to control. That could have been like a sort of like, okay, there's some weaknesses to the Edo Tenseis. Like, you gotta balance the level of control you can have over them.
Right.
Well,
yeah,
Kabuto did say he perfected it.
But yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But it just seems so. It just seems so like
Convenient.
Yeah, it is convenient. Like I said, I felt like we seen it all from Hashirama and his brother, but apparently not. Apparently, when you perfect it, now you see even more. Like
I
not
think
even double of it. It's like
I think one of the biggest problems is that Kishimoto ended up hyping up Majo Uchiha so big that he also needed to hype up. He needed to also retcon Hashirama's strength.
Exactly, pretty much. That's what you pretty much end up doing. Same thing for. I don't know if you could say the same thing for Minato, but Minato had to say like, well, I did seal the other half of QB, so I perfectly can do it easily, faster than you can say Naruto. So there you go, QB mode.
One thing I feel like I kind of feel like the Uchiha brothers with this not the best matchup to have with Kabuto. Granted, I feel like he did that because Sasuke had not been in action for a while, so that's probably why he did it. But
which
I feel
bothers me a lot because Naruto and Kabuto was built up a lot.
In many ways,
it never happened.
In many ways, I could have seen. In many ways, it would probably be more better if you, instead of Sasuke and Itachi take on Kabuto, you could have had Naruto and Sakura, and you could have had the next generation of Sannin deadlock in that fight.
Well, you could do that too, but my problem is again, Naruto and Kabuto never had a confrontation that the whole entire series was building up. You can see it since the beginning.
Remember that there was like a big thing between the two of them, going like, "Hey, remember when the next time we meet, things are going to go pretty." I'm like, "Yeah, what was that?"
Yeah, like your tuning exam. Oh, Sasuke, it looks like you're really living up to the hype that Orochimaru would be interested. But personally, I got my eyes on you too, Naruto. It's like, oh shit, he's in trouble. And then they fought each other. Rasengan. Whoa, damn, you knocked me out, but I still survived, you little brat. And then, hey, look, I lost my master. But guess what? I found a way. I fused his DNA. Naruto, you don't see? I'm actually following what you told me before. Isn't this the perfect path? One day we'll meet when I'm perfection. Once again, we will fight. You got that impression? Yeah, they're gonna fight each other and it's gonna be serious shit.
And then his character does a complete 180 after he fights Itachi.
Yeah. It's like, all right.
Yeah, that pisses me off more than anything else. I'm sorry. He's supposed to be trapped in an endless loop, and for for the most bullshittiest of bullshit reasons, he breaks out of it, even though it's completely against his character to do so.
I think this is one of the biggest problem with shonen is that you have too many characters that get villains that get reformed.
Here's my thing about the whole Kabuto thing coming back. Didn't Orochimaru take his powers away? So how the hell does he still have it? That's the question I keep asking.
I'm trying to remember if they explained that, actually. I'm trying to remember that right now. Like, did they explain that? I don't remember they did.
And I remember Orochimaru specifically, like, okay, he put his hand on Kabuto and he just took his powers. I was like, all right, so Kabuto's good. If he ever wakes up again, he's gonna look like how he was. Second, he comes because I still have my powers. I'm like, how?
I remember the false hope in the very beginning. Oh shoot, Uncle got in trouble. Oh shoot, Uncle's in danger. I guess in a sense they're gonna try to push her because she's part of Orochimaru. Kabuto has her. It's like, this might be Lisa something. Well, no, never did.
To be fair, in the beginning of the war, it looked like they were killing off characters, even minor ones, but still. It looked like there was going to be some death in it, but it didn't happen until Neji.
A moment of silence from Conan, who got nothing. Probably the most unused and wasted potential I've seen out of a character in the entire series.
And I like her design too.
Yeah, I know she was great.
I like the design, damn it. Nope.
Remind me of
I
Aqua
forget.
from Kingdom Hearts.
Unfortunately, it's written by Kishimoto. It's like, ah, damn.
Belly
And
button
he
piercing.
can't look at us. He even admitted in the interview. So we have our evidence. We have our receipt, whatever you want to say it. We have proof. So now you can't say us. You're just being over exaggerated. If the man admits it, then he knows it, and you
This
have
is a
to. Mm-hmm.
This is coming from a writer who said on 2 occasions, one, I don't know how I don't know how I'm going to defeat Madara Uchiha. I made him too strong. And 2, yeah, I
That's
have no
true.
reason why Sasuke and Sakura are together. She's just addicted to him.
I remember the first time he said that in the interview. I'm like, he's probably joking. He has to have something. Usually when they say it, it's like, well, he doesn't want to reveal what it is. And then you see the story, it's like, oh shit, he didn't actually know what it was.
And in that same interview, he admits that Narahina's a pity fuck. Because remember, he says, I felt sorry for her.
He did.
Which lends credence to the theory that he was not 100% in complete control of his own goddamn series. Fucking Suecia looking towards the American market and saying, oh, hey, look how popular Hinata is. Maybe she should end up with the main character. Even though she's practically had very little screen time with him.
Like a goddamn movie.
I think it's very telling that, let's see, he has a chapter that says the true ending with Sakura and Karin being panicking over Naruto and Sasuke dying.
What was the whole?
When you look, honestly, it's already a mess in the first place because you look at the popularity poll. It's always a sausage fest with one including female character, and it's always either between Hinata and Sakura. And at the end of the day, Hinata won in terms of the popularity poll.
Yeah,
it's like, I wonder why. Maybe because, I don't know, these characters were not written well. I don't know. It seems that's the case. I mean, yeah, granted, you got Iruka many times actually, until the last one, but still, you didn't write them properly.
13,728 pages. Thanks to Vanitas for these numbers. 13,728 pages. I'm going to say that one more time. 13,728 pages. Hinata is in 484 of those pages. That is 3% of the manga. Narahina interaction, 38 pages. One is a title page, and 7 of them are during when Naruto the Last was in production. So 30 pages of legitimate Naruto-Hinata interaction. That is less than 0.2% of the manga. And you're going to tell me that this was planned since the beginning. Fuck you guys.
Even if the whole, this was always going to be a red herring from the start. Fuck you, Kishimoto. You are terrible at writing red herrings. If that's the case, you are terrible at writing red herrings. Look toward your friend Oda in One Piece. And I'll always refer to this, no matter what, whenever this argument comes up. Look towards One Piece and what happened between Frankie and Paulie during the Water 7 arc. It's all building up that, at first it's built up that it's Paulie that's going to be the next crew member. Then slowly you start to realize that no, it's actually supposed to be Frankie. And it's written in such a way that you accept that. But this? No, Kishimoto. We will not accept that this is all, this was all supposed to be a red herring, and it was going to be Naruhina at the end.
There's no way you would have the dead father resurrected asking Naruto if the pink girl is his girlfriend, and then make a comparison to Kushina when you had the Kushina say, find a girl like me.
Chapter 693.
Fairy Tail did this thing. You had Gray's father ask Juvia, are you his woman?
There's another series too. It's called Rave Master. Haru and his dad. Same thing. Same thing.
When a parent asks a character of the opposite sex or just or someone from the same gender, I guess, if they are in a relationship with their child, Let's see, that usually implies that they're going to have a romantic relationship.
I would have said Blake and Son, but I don't know if that's even going to happen now.
And a message to all you Sakura haters out there. I can't stand her being so obsessive, or I can't stand how useless she is, or I can't stand why she's so bad because she refuses to change who she is. You people, you wanted Narahina to be canon, which means that Sasasaku is the byproduct of it. That's the cancerous tumor that created from Narahina. Now, if Narasaku would just become canon in the beginning, all your problems with Sakura would have disappeared instantaneously. Gotten over Sasuke, which means she got over her assassin, grew up as a woman and as a character, and actually moved forward with her life. But no, you didn't want that. So secretly, you guys know, secretly, down into your souls, no matter how big a Narahina fan that you are, you know Narasaku was the correct choice. Because you knew that would have created a perfect character arc completion and the entire Team 7. But I guess, fuck Karen, right? Because she wasn't important enough.
Seriously.
Search your feelings. You know this to be true.
That's why
Narasaku is your pairing.
That's why I tend to joke so many times. Hey, who's in the popularity poll? Let's see. He's number one. Cool. Who's the first? Who's number one in the other gender? That person. Well, then we should pair them up. I agree.
Here's a better red herring example I want to bring up. It's the big twist in Assassination Classroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But that's because
you don't know what we're talking about.
I've read Assassination
No, he read
Classroom.
it. He read it.
He's right.
He read it.
Okay.
He read it though.
I have all
But
the
yeah.
volumes. I got them before Lucky Chief, funny enough.
The way how the manga, these chapters has been handled, it feels like one of those cases of like episodic shows, pretty much in TV shows. It's like I know many episodes are always handled by different writers or different director. It's like there's no head lead writer that they'll tell you, okay, what we're gonna have is this character go there, and this character will meet this new character. He will be his new sensei. This character will fight this guy, but unfortunately lose. That's your lead. But then when you have the writer do their things, it's like, all right, he's gonna meet this guy. He's a total prick. He become the coolest guy ever. Now he's a sensei. Excuse me, what you did? Anyway, I'm gonna continue on. He fight this dude. He somehow and completely overpower him. Okay, and then he one-shotted him. I'm sorry, what? And that's how he lose. What are you doing to my story? It's like that kind of scenario. It's kind of like how Dragon Ball Super was suffering when they have different writers. Hey, Vegeta, why are you acting like kind of out of character? Oh, I got a different writer doing this episode. Next episode. Oh, man, Vegeta, you're very in character now. It's like that. That's how Naruto chapters feels like. Well, one day they feel like on character. The other day they feel like they're not. It's like, you got a different writer or something? What the hell is going on? It feels so disjointed compared to any other chapters. It's like different writers take over.
And on the topic of being disjointed, let's move on to Kaguya and the final battle between Naruto and Sasuke. Because, oh my god, did this come out of left field. Okay, so, as it turns out, Madara was not the very last boss. He's actually the puppet for Black Zetsu, who in turn is actually taking orders from this woman
entity.
This woman who's just who comes out of left field, who's a giant space flea from nowhere. She just shows up. She curb stomps Madara, and then
ninjas in space.
I can't even get through describing this because of how ridiculous it is.
Space ninjas.
So, So
You know what? You know what?
so
bothers
then
me?
Naruto and Sasuke inherit her son's powers, and they
Oh my
defeat
God.
her. And then, okay, now what? Well, I guess I'm going to keep everyone in the dream pods just to keep them docile while I rule the world. Sasuke, really? You don't rule the world like that.
Revolution.
Well, what are you gonna do about it, Naruto?
But see,
They
honestly,
always do.
But
Pinky
the
tries to stop
only-
him and save him.
the only way the whole Witzy Setsu betrays Madara twist would have worked, if you ask me, is instead of Setsu working for Kaguya, it
I
turned
know.
out that Black Zetsu was actually the conscious mind of the Ten Tails, and
Okay, you messed
then he
up.
did this entire and that it was the entire time he was manipulating the Akatsuki just to try and get his Ten Tails body back so he can merge with it. That's the only way I could see that working.
I don't,
See,
see,
the funny-
that,
see,
that,
the
that would be good, but the other option I would have went with is no. My will is Orochimaru. I would have been like,
Bingo.
oh,
That would have been awesome because now it's reestablished that Orochimaru is once again the main villain, and he was more compelling to a lot than like the last two villains, basically Obito,
But-
who's like, well, I lost my waifu, so I'm gonna destroy the freaking world by putting you to sleep.
I remember when Orochimaru came back, everyone was like, okay, he's not trying to do anything yet, but he's clearly waiting.
Yeah,
Well-
and that would have been an awesome twist. No, we gotta make him a good guy.
Wasn't the Black Zetsu originally like described as Madara's will?
Yes.
Yeah, but then that's like retcon or cop out. I don't know what you want to call it. The funny thing that always bothers me, which is half bothered me and half make me laugh so much. For whatever reason, that tablet gets retcon many damn times so far.
does.
Like that because I remember vividly they said like this. So you went to that temple? Yeah, I saw the temple. I saw the hidden tablet. And I've managed to read it. I managed to read what it really says, thanks to the Sharingan eyes I acquire. Yes, but with my eye, you will get the final part of the story, and that is the Madara story and how he got the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. If I could do the same thing, then I will be unstoppable. Apparently, well, when you got more eyes, it tells you the ancient story of Rikodo Sennen. We're like, really? It tells you the entire story now. And then it's like,
no.
but if you get more eyes, you can actually see the more stories towards that. And hold on, and then you learn about Kaguya for a brief moment. But then that whole story from that tablet is never established. Why? Because you let I said Reboko. Different story. Right, different series. Altogether. Sorry, different series. Then you have what's his name? Hagoromo?
Hagoromo?
Yeah,
Hagoromo.
Yeah, whatever. You got him to say, oh, let me tell you the full story. Apparently, I have a brother. Really? Why the tablet didn't say shit about your damn brother? Because he was irrelevant. Actually, I'm lying. He will be relevant for one thing only. The freaking last Naruto the movie. That's the only time. Everything else, don't matter.
Didn't the Black Zetsu even say that he changed the tablet too?
Yes! You can only read it if you have you can only read it if you have Rinnegan. And he read, and somehow he can read it perfectly and change it.
Hold on. Tablet says, no, just kidding. Here's how you do it. Lol.
But yeah.
Oh, God.
But yeah, honestly, if they wanted more tablet stuff, they should have just done what One Piece did with the raffle, with those polyglyphs.
Yes. Instead of being one part that says every entire story of Gold Roger or whatever, that one tablet keep retconning itself. It used to be the story of how Madara got his Mangekyo Sharingan Eternal version. And then it becomes the Rikodo Sennen storyline. And then it becomes the further down the storyline where Kaguya got the fruit and then started a ninja crisis.
My thing is, how do you
Like-
have that much information on one tablet? That's my
Yes,
question. How?
it's only like 4 letters. I mean, it's like 8 letters per line, which is only up to 12. How the?
I'm pretty certain that tablet was just to be like, the power of the Sharingan can control the 9-tailed fox. That was
That's
all it was most
that
to be.
tablet
apparently
held more.
goes to Juby.
That tablet held more secrets than the Declaration of Independence and National Treasure.
Oh my
Exactly.
First we apply heat, then we wear the glasses, then we put the red lens on the glasses, then we put the blue lens on the glasses, then we put both the red and blue lenses on the glasses, and we
Like, it
get
was
different
funny.
maps.
It was funny enough how they like, hey, Kages, I got a story to tell you about this whole Rikoda Sennin. Because I remember I read it from the tablet. As you can see, if you get more eyes, you require that. I was like, all right, I could have sworn it was like about the story of Madara, but fine, whatever. I'm gonna let that slide because I'm still a fan of the series. And then they did it again in the war arc. And it is hilarious how Madara said it, like, how do you know that story? I read the tablet. I'm like, are you even trying now?
The
'Cause you just-
tablet.
the tablet that says every answer in the universe.
tablet of lost souls. I don't want to call it.
Oh god! Like all that was missing was him smoldering about it. You see, the tablet holds the key to the end to the world. It's like that's all it was missing. God, this serious. But go on. I'm sorry.
So speaking of things that also come completely out of nowhere, the ending. Oh dear God, the ending.
Honestly-
No, not just the final two chapters. Oh no, we have to include the last into this because
All
guess
right.
what? Out of all the movies, that one has to be canon in order for you to understand the ending. So everyone's freed. Sasuke's forgiven. But guess what? He takes the path of the wandering samurai. Oh, but not before we get this shoehorned in Sasuke moment. Can't I come with you? No, you must stay here. But here's a forehead poke, just like Itachi did to me. Then we jump to 700.
I remember this. Oh my god.
Which
Hey Naruto, do you know what love is? Oh, is that like food?
Oh god.
This is a dude that made a. This is a dude that made a cold-blooded assassin cry, but he doesn't know what love is. Oh God!
Get the fuck out of here.
God, this movie. First off, just his entire childhood now has to be rewritten to shoehorn in more Naruhina moments. Oh, he always knew the Shadow Clone Jutsu even before he learned about it.
I was gonna mention that first.
How does that happen?
Well, wait.
How does that
Don't think-
happen?
Well, wait. Guys, don't forget. Guys,
he tries
guys.
making one. It's just
That was a major red flag that this movie is not going to be consistent at
Oh.
all.
And
Guys.
then, out of nowhere, while they're in class, Uruk asks them, "So, if the moon came crashing down tomorrow, what would you do?"
What question
That's
is
pretty
that?
specific.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off. It's so damn specific. I'm like, all right, let's actually a question that just only gonna work for a movie tie-in. It's only gonna work for a plot tie-in, whatever you want to say, just for this reason. So let me actually this damn stupid ass question.
Oh, and then we get this whole stupid spiel about Naruto's scarf. Oh, this belonged to his mother. Okay, first,
No.
where did you find it? Second,
No. We really gotta commentate this movie one day. We just have to do it. We just have to
and then
do it.
second,
dude.
Hinata,
Look, if
Hinata
YouTube is gonna
admitted was-
copyright strike me, so be it. I will do it one time and just.
No, I just got one thing you forgot to point out. Hinata was bullied because of her eyes.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense. It's not even. She's not even like. It's not like she's unique to the point that she's like, like very disgenerous. It's not like. It's not like in One Piece with that lady with 3 eyes. It's like, yeah, I don't think there's like a clan. I mean, there's a clan, but it's not a healthy one. It's not a very memorable one. It's not a very respectable one.
Also, really? Are you going to make fun of her? I mean, I know it's out of character, but you aren't afraid that she's going to come running to Daddy and say, "These kids are being mean to me, do something about it"?
It's a Hyuga clan. It's a noble clan.
one of the
fuck.
According to the Naruto wiki, it's one of the 4 noble clans of Gahona. For some reason,
you can make fun of.
And then we get the fucking red scarf. Well, first off, wow, nice symbolism there. The red string of fate. Like people aren't gonna notice. Think, oh man, that was so subtle. I didn't even know that. And then second off, because of that Tom scarf, we get the Spider-Man 3 moment of the movie where she doesn't tell him that this is all part of the plan. I plan on being kidnapped to go save my sister. No, she just leaves him to be freaked the fuck out.
I'm sorry.
It's just this movie.
Hey, Steve, if you really think about it, it makes sense what Kichi said when he was like, you don't really have to read the manga to watch through. Like, really now? Because
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I mean, it's so bad that it's so bad. Even the weather was retconned. When was the last time it snowed in Konoha?
That's true.
Never. Because again, I had this discussion with Vanitas on the Heaven and Earth forums about this. I was like, okay, even the weather was changed to suit this movie because it's like, okay, when does this movie take place? 2 years after the Four Shinobi War.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to assume it's October. Didn't
Konohamaru eye color change in there too? It's like,
yeah. But like the sun, like it didn't snow on Naruto's birthday when he was born when the nine tails attacked. It didn't snow on his birthday during the Four Shinobi War. It didn't snow ever in Konoha whatsoever.
But snow is romantic, so shut up.
Yeah, but soccer could fest in snow too, but apparently that's a lie.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool. Soccer's
And
alive forever.
And then the villain. My God, if this was printed on a manga, I'd be reading him in Superboy Prime's voice. I'm an ancestor of the Hyuga, and I'm going to take revenge for people leaving me up here. Because that's just who I am.
I was meant to be a bodyguard for Kaguya's body. Well, you sure did a good job when you came back.
Yeah. I really wish this was an actual podcast for this alone, because we actually could fill in how many hours we spent right now.
It'd be another 3.5 hours.
But see, we could do so many different podcasts. One about the anime fillers, maybe even one about the entire one about how the entire fucking war is bad, because that could go on for like a few hours.
I would love to discuss the movies, because man, some of the movies are hilarious and all the wrong reasons. but the last is just
Bonds.
Yeah, Shippuden Bonds, which by the way, Hero Rise is your next upcoming. So here you go, guys. Here's for you new kids.
Get excited, Blue.
And then chapter 7. Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
But the last, like the whole scarf thing is like, okay, so you telling me the Thorough Kage has kept all this shit for all this period of time. Now you just found out, like, oh, I guess the Thorough Kage forgot to give him the stuff. You know, it's not like it will make Naruto feel better. It's not the same thing as like, hey, if I were to tell you you're going to be the father, maybe you should not sacrifice yourself in the war. We're like, oh, you know, if you only told me I was going to be the father, I probably would not sacrifice my life in a war. It probably would motivate me, if anything. But thanks for telling me when I'm fucking dying. Bye. It's like that. It's like, you know, giving him the scarf will actually make him feel a lot better when he's alone. I'm just saying. But then the whole scarf thing, the whole scarf being the focus is absolutely hilarious in all the wrong reason. Because that's the main focus. First of all, you don't even know who is it from. But once you found out what's it from, the whole context has changed drastically to the point that you think this is completely stupid. Because, you know, it seems like, why the hell Naruto won't say anything? Why the hell Hinata will actually get jealous when her character should not be like that kind of even character? Like, I'm trying to be the benefit of the doubt for this, you know, Hinata's main story, I guess you could call it that, because that's what it essentially end up being. It's not about Naruto. Forget Naruto. He doesn't know shit until the very, very, very cheesy moment where everybody's in a dream world and the scarf come out from Hinata's bag, wrap around Naruto, so therefore they could communicate together. I mean, you know, you think the whole paths from Attack on Titan was more confusing, even though it's not. You try this one for size. You have a damn scarf to somehow communicate together, and then Naruto could enter Hinata's memory. What kind of bullshit is that? It's an object. It's an object. It's not DNA.
A genjutsu used for brainwashing and or torture somehow plays matchmaker in this movie.
God.
It's so powerful. It changed Naruto drastically. It felt like he's
It's
the one
so
that got
powerful that the tailed beasts can't reverse it.
I honestly feel it. Honestly feels like Naruto got manipulated. It's like he got manipulated.
I'm gonna quote this movie. There's 2 lines in this movie that I think sum up this entire thing in so quickly. So Sakura and Naruto, Hinata's walking off by herself, and Sakura goes, "Hey Naruto, why don't you ask Hinata if you can walk her home tonight?" Naruto, why? And that about sums it up.
I mean,
why indeed?
But the whole scarf thing is just so stupid. Like I just again, you look at the context now after being revealed as belongs to his mother. You can see every character being an asshole for hating on Naruto for having a scarf. It's like, well, time to go to our mission, but first let me wear the scarf. Sakura, the ever so hateable character for everybody. Well, why the hell you have that scarf? Why the hell you wearing that scarf? You're so stupid. I'm like, maybe if Naruto say the context, you'll feel stupid. And
it's self-defeating because this movie they set up this development between the two, and then like you have the fans be like, well, what about the pain art confession and everything like that? Well, according to this movie, that meant nothing to Naruto. He didn't give a crap.
That makes it worse.
Let me take this a step further. What do people say? Oh, Neji brought Hinata and Naruto closer. Not this movie. This movie didn't tell me that shit.
Oh yeah.
There was like not one mention about that one. Now
even Kishimoto. Neji played Cupid. Oh god.
But
honestly,
thing.
It was in that moment all Neji fans were pissed.
Yeah.
But the scarf thing, like, I understand you want to do the scarf thing. As cheesy as it is, as corny as it is, fine, you could do it. But the placement in here is just bad. Like, again, maybe if you should say, like, oh, it belongs to my mom, nobody would look like an asshole towards Naruto, especially Sakura, who's like, what the hell are you wearing a scarf? Or even Hinata, because he's like, oh, I hate Naruto. I'm jealous of Naruto because you're wearing a scarf. Maybe if you expose the context, it would be meaningful. Hell, you could have the moment where the scarf were burnt out, and then you know where Naruto falls out, and instead of Hinata walking with Toneri, whatever you say his name, you have Hinata find out that it belongs to Kushina, and then she could feel sympathy for Naruto, empathy, like for like I'm so sorry for hating on you. You know, she could have a moment of a nice tender moment together. Like, hey, that would have helped. But no, they found out at the very end, after all the shenanigans, pretty much it makes the entire scarf story nearly worthless or nearly pointless. It's just like I know you want to write I know you want to write down the scarf thing, but not like this. Especially when you have Hinata always knitting the scarf during a hazard mission with her sister being involved, where she loses her eyeballs. And what you wanted to do is to freaking knit the scarf because you want to care about vitamin D's of Naruto. Is that what it is?
And it's the second time Hinata calls herself selfish. Because she actually admits that she cared more about the scarf than she did about her sister.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was her sister, I'd be like, "Fuck you, Hinata."
Get away from me, you damn.
But then, what does this movie supposedly explain? Chapter 700. Well,
nothing.
Good.
Not a damn thing.
Not a damn thing. All it shows is, here's like 10 years into the future, and everyone's kids. And I already ranted about this on the last podcast that I was in about. So I'm not gonna go any further than we shouldn't see everyone's kids. It should have been Naruto's coronation as Hokage.
That's what it should be.
Honestly, I think the only reason they showed the kids because instead of an epilogue, they were making a prologue.
which is what I said on the last podcast.
Yeah.
This was all fucking set up for Boruto, and the
Yeah.
and the supplementary materials. By the way,
Mhm.
those light novels. Oh god.
Yeah, they got a lot
We
of
wa-
light novels out of that.
we
now.
wanted a bowl of ramen Naruto noodles, and what did we get? Burrito salads.
Exactly. Ah.
Oh god.
Man,
Oh my
Alright,
god.
so I think we've thoroughly discussed things to remove or improve in part 2.
yeah, I think we pretty much just did that.
What's left here?
Overall,
Overall perspective. Perspective
Kishimoto
on the
is a
author
bad writer.
I'll say this.
and closing thoughts. So overall perspective, the art, and as a whole in the manga, the art is consistent. There's never a bad moment where,
I think I'd say Kishimoto's art was best from late part 1 to early part 2.
Sounds right.
About, yeah. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Kishimoto went out his I know he did say that in the interview that when the part 2 happened, he changed the art style just to have the anime fit well to this style. So pretty much it's like it looked like an outline of an animation more so than a manga from an actual art style.
Uh-huh.
That's what he say. So it's like that explains why it looks very identical. It's like when you look at the Naruto Part 2 art design, it's like a color in pictures, I guess you could say. Like, hey, color me inside because I'm part of the anime.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's why it was so good to adapt originally.
Yeah.
the fights.
Part one was better,
Fights.
fight-wise. I'll say that. The fights in part 1 were better.
Yeah, I mean,
Fights in Part 2 was
There's-
good. And
I
yeah,
think
there's some
Before
good
war.
fights in part. There's some good fights in part 2, but it's just the war arc ruined the fighting in general.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when you got battles that drag on.
I
Or
think Naruto one lasted 2 volumes.
Damn.
yeah,
My God.
that's themes. Because
What you say?
overall perspective on themes. Well,
Oh, themes.
if the theme was supposed to be screw destiny,
Succeeded.
You sure did.
You failed.
The theme
Yeah.
of coming to Avengers got thrown out the window. Let's be fair. That's the biggest thing people talk about with the series. I'm like, in the beginning, yeah, but by the end, I mean,
it's like
Honestly,
every-
I didn't mean to kick the dead horse, but going back to the whole Naruto the Shadow clone back in the elementary days in the last, I remember so much. Part of me wished to archive just to say I'm not a liar, even though if I don't really care, but I remember so much that people were actually trying to defend this scene and say that he always had Shadow Clone. What he did with the scroll was to learn the multiple Shadow Clone, basically the Taiju version, because there's Kajibusha no Jutsu and there's Taiju Kajibusha no Jutsu. I honest to God, saw those comments and I just want to it was like it has to be possible to die out of laughter. It just has to be possible. Like,
well, let's see. Come to the UK, and you'll probably die about the sheer stupidity that's happening on there right now.
I guess so. But the fact that you actually have the nerve to defend this, I mean, it's nothing new, honestly. Because again, a lot of people. I actually experienced again in this era where there was a obvious plot hole, and a lot of people defended, and then the writer himself tweeted, "Oh, he did it before. I apologize. I will change it up in the volume edition." And I'm like, well, everybody make mistake, but with that said, you guys kind of look pretty funny for defending because the writer cannot be bad. The series cannot be bad. No flaws existed. This series is always amazing, always perfection.
Sounds like another series I know that's ongoing right now, but I won't name it.
I'm sorry.
I'm sitting here like Saitama into Boros. Okay.
Oh boy.
Overall perspective on the hero's journey. What a mess.
It's
Overall, yeah.
I mean, started off great, but especially as soon as the war arc started, it just petered out. It's like, what's essential in the hero's journey? You have the hero who's just a little bit more different than the others, whether it's good different or bad different.
Let's see.
You have him accepting something that happens out of his control. Whether it's like in Star Wars when Luke loses Owen and Peru, or when Gandalf recruits Frodo in Lord of the Rings.
You mean they refuse to call at first, but then has to at some point?
Yeah. You have the hero learning from either a mentor or various mentors. You have the hero stumble quite a bit as his worldview is expanded upon from what he's used to in his own comfort zone. You also have the fact that the mentors cannot stay forever, and then ultimately you have the hero becoming a better leader, and then the cycle repeats itself until you reach the end of your story.
Unless you decide to do something different, like what they did with the new Star Wars movies.
Right. But that's a can of worms we'll save for another podcast.
For life.
Well,
Well,
there we go.
I found.
And the most.
Wow, I thought it was my turn. Sorry.
Yeah. And in most aspects throughout the story, Naruto does hit some of those beats as part of the hero's journey. But in other aspects, like when it becomes clear that everything that's happening to him is because of his lineage rather than he himself as a person, that's where the hero's journey sort of peters out for him. And honestly, it's just why I stop reading or I stop watching after the 5 Kage Summit, because I just can't take it anymore. For life go on.
What I know is that the story I've been reading was wrongfully read. It's all about Sasuke all this time. And I apologize. I read it and think it was all about Naruto. No, it's not. Even
Yeah, how dare you?
Right?
How dare I? I'm so sorry.
How dare
It
you,
was always
for life?
Sasuke.
How could you believe
It was
this was Naruto?
How could you hate our Lord and Savior Sasuke Uchiha?
I'm sorry.
Honestly,
I'm so sorry.
They should have just renamed the series as Ninja Chronicles.
Well, it's not like that. Yeah, you can say it like that.
You could have made it that.
One ninja. I don't know. My ninja.
Boku no Ninja Academia.
Boku no
Or how like some people actually say Boku Mai. Boku Mai. Like you already say Mai already. Wait, that's
Hey,
you repeating yourself.
Just don't watch Boku no Piccolo.
Nope.
Oh god. Oh god. Anyway. Yeah, so we're like if you come from what I came from with part 1 with the whole super hype for part 2, you could see this as a major disappointment easily, because it's not what you expect. It's not what you're hoping for. There's a lot of missteps. There's a lot of there's tons of questionable decisions, questionable character choices, so many character assassin, not so many, just one notably character assassin. Oh god, that was like the awful moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that when that happened, I mean, like, well, I was naive back then. But if I were to read
I
that
think we all were.
line, yeah,
We're
if I
honest.
if I would have read that line today, I would say, "Wow, this character's done. It's 100% done. There is no coming back from that line. That line was like a ultimate killing line. There should be like a top 10 anime lines that destroy the character 100% or something like that. Because that would come up my number one or or at least top three easily.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, a lot of expectation go either underwhelming or never happen because it just says no, screw you. My main one that I always gonna remember that screwed me over was the whole hype with Team Seven, because especially when Team Seven, especially when Kakashi was like, look at Naruto, he has grown so much. Sakura, you have grown so much, even the hardship. And Sasuke, even though you have grown well, I can't understand you. I can't read you. Sasuke, what is your goal? But our actual next time. Because right now we have Madara. Well, C7, it all comes down to us. This is when the history is written by the victor. Remember, we are the only one that could fight Madara. This is like some Metal Gear Rising final boss stage hype. This is some Dark Souls all trilogies, Sekiro final boss right here. This is where everything means everything. This is it. We're gonna change the world. Chapter. Well, Madara won everybody. Fuck Team 7.
Uh,
Completely destroy Expedition.
we're
So
expecting
much for teams.
we're expecting the three main Avengers versus Thanos in that scene.
Pretty much. It's like, yeah, it's like that. It's like, all right, we got three main Avengers. You just knock out everybody and then
So who would be
I
the
don't know.
Tony Stark in that situation? That's the question.
Exactly. It's like, okay. Never mind, guys. Never mind. it's like
see-
that.
You'd probably have, let's see, Captain America as Naruto and Iron Man as, let's see, Sasuke.
What? No.
Pause and rewind.
But I like,
Get out of here,
but I like Iron Man. So that's contradicting to Sasuke already.
Well, I'm sorry, but let's see, face it, all of the Avengers are likable, so one of them has to end up being Sasuke.
One
You're
of them.
making him Iron Man? Get out of here.
Fine. What about henchman? What about backup number 44 from the Doctor Strange team? I don't know who's that guy, so he's Sasuke. Or one of the Wakandas. How about that? Would that be okay for me? Not the leaders, because I actually like them. I talk about the just random background characters. Just don't, please.
Sasuke is Captain Marvel.
Oh,
Steam. Well, yeah,
Shots
he's
fired.
powerful. He steams everybody. I take all the glory.
Has the most broken
But,
powers, and everybody hates him.
Well, okay, that's one way to look at it. But yeah, going back to what I'm saying, like all the expectation is just either underwhelming or just never meets, especially with the Team 7 versus Madara. I was actually hyped for it, but nope. What you got is Sakura make a fool of herself, and bonus, she only talk about why Sasuke didn't pay attention to her at all, and then you got, other aspects that just always makes you wonder, where do we even got this from? Where do we even got to this? Where do we even lead to this line, like this path? Like, how did it even happen? The whole Kage situation was just baffling beyond belief. How Orochimaru became redeemable somehow after killing third Hokage, killing Kazekage, that's all fine and dandy. And a slap in the wrist. There you go. All right, you could help us now.
That's the theme. It's forgiveness.
Like I'll give anime credit. They actually noted this. Like, how the hell you allow Orochimaru do things now, Naruto? What is wrong with you? At least they questioned that. I was like, oh, finally somebody questioned them.
It took a
Fuck.
sequel that explanation, though. I was like, oh, that's the other part.
Yeah, but I'm still waiting for an explanation with Kawato. You know, Kawato, you killed those Ambu guys in the hospital. You did some crazy shady stuff right back in your lair. You were killing people. You were experimenting people. You were tormenting people. But I think it's best for you to handle with kids. So fine. It's like how we got to that path. Where does it even tell us that? Nothing. It never did. Apparently, his friend was in the war. I would like to have Kabuto return to Konoha and run an orphanage. Who are you again? I'm just a random new guy that just so happens to be here in the war where Kabuto is about to change 180 completely. So get ready to see me one more time in Naruto Gaiden. Cool? Cool. Hey. And then then the ending. Oh, yeah. I'm done.
Next.
Who has to say this stuff? Lucky?
Well, in terms of part 2, I have one word that I can pretty much describe it: clusterfuck. That's the one word I'm going to describe it, because, my God, like, he asked me with part 1, I'm like, all right, like, part 1, I'm like, okay. So, I've got a soft spot for part 1, so there's that. And there's a lot of promise by the end of part 1. It's got I wouldn't say a precise, but a pretty good beginning, middle, and end. And things that can go into part 2, further development. But you get to part 2, and just by structure alone, it's like, but it wasn't cohesive. It didn't flow naturally. And let's be perfectly honest here. Characters showed up, and they weren't exactly super relevant. You have moments throughout part 2 that seems like a big deal and is going to get paid off in a big way. And honestly, if I'm really looking at the hero's journey, if you look at it from part 1's side, it's there. It's kind of there in the first half of part 2. But then, again, Kage's summit hits. This hit starts hyperventilating. I tuned out. I was like, nope. Can't do this. No.
Yeah. When it came to my experiences, well, let me put it this way. When Naruto the ending happened, I was willing to give up on anime entirely. I thought to myself, this is it. If this is considered the epitome of good writing in anime, I give up. I don't want to be a part of this. And then I discovered One Punch Man, and everything felt better. But thinking about it, I wanted to look into other series and how they could do the story. And honestly, Kishimoto, I'm going to put this simply. You fucked up. You fucked up, and everyone knows you fucked up, except for 2 sets of people. 1, pairing fans. The fans who are Narahina or Sasasaka fans, that is the only reason why you like this series, is because your pairings are canon. It's not because it's a good story, it's not because you think it's well written, it's because your pairings became canon. You know how I know this? Because every single time something is brought up to your attention about why something is good or bad, you always have to try to defend it. The story shouldn't have to have you defending it. It should be defending itself. It should have all been self-explanatory, but it's not. It creates more holes, and as Boruto is continuing to go, it's creating even more holes in the series, because they keep retconning every single thing. I digress. Kishimoto, I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know what your reasons were, but you screwed it up. And at least you could have did was admit that you screwed it up big time. And let's be honest, I don't even know if Kishimoto is actually that great of a writer, because it seems like most of the ideas were Yahagi's. And originally Naruto was supposed to be about a food, about a kid owning a food stand, if I remember correctly, if it was the original story. And it was the Yahagi's idea to have, to be about ninjas, to have the rival, to have all the stuff that makes shonens what they are. He was the one that suggested putting all that in there. But you screwed up when even your own wife calls BS on the ending. And you have to lie to her? Where am I getting this from? Again, 2016 interviews, New York Comic-Con. He said this straight out. But, Junko wanted NS. Kishimoto's own wife wanted NS. NS should have been the ending, and you screwed it up because a fandom wanted Narahina so badly. No. You should have made Narasaku canon and just let the fandom do whatever you want. For the rest of you who given up on the series, just go to about the pain arc and then make up whatever story you want to after that. It's better off that way. Or if you want to, look at Tokai's Naruto the Alternative Last. It's actually really awesome. It's on DeviantArt. If if you want to check it out. I think it's actually a really sponsor. I think that's actually a really good story that he's been doing right now. And
So far, it's like really engaging. I'm like,
yeah, and you actually have the characters like contribute something. You actually have Ino contributing something to the story, and it's a lot better than what you got in the actual story. That's all I'm gonna say. But Kishimoto, you screwed up. You ruined your series, and the only people that are still liking this series are radical pairing fans, and that's it. I'm done.
When Naruto ended, I literally stopped buying the volumes. Funny enough, I ended up started buying them again just because I figured, all right, I'll complete the damn collection. I'll get up to 71 volumes because I had most of the War Arc volumes at the time. So, okay, get the ones I don't have, and then that's it. See, I am done with this series. I don't care what happens next. I don't care what happens with. I don't care what happens to Boruto. I don't care what happens with any movies, anything, stuff like that. The only way I would ever really get back into this series again is if like they get to renew your Stars Vow alternate universe in which, hey, you had it, fix the problems, now Sakura and all that stuff. Or Kishimoto publicly admits that he messed up, but I don't see him doing that. I enjoy quite a lot of fights from both Part 1 and Part 2, but probably Part 1 has the more better quality ones, because as I said earlier, you had fights like Obito's that lasted 2 volumes, and it's not just like the standard halfway through one and the beginning of the other. Standard hero's journey, but though granted, Naruto should never have been one of those kids that was to fight destiny. That belongs more to someone like Rock Lee. But that's for perspective on the author. Well, honestly, his best traits would probably be his art style, and the fact that he can actually draw pretty good fights. I will say that. Room for improvement? Okay, you have really got to work on your female character writing. I mean, in terms of art style, it's actually not that bad. In fact, it's one of the few animes and mangas where I see female characters that are not overly gross drawn to body proportions, with maybe a few exceptions. Because honestly, that can sometimes get a bit annoying. I mean, but Fairy Tail in particular, with the fan surface, just got tedious after 300 chapters. But see, other things he needs to do: plan your story in advance. I mean, seriously, it was just all over the place. So there we go. Those are my overall perspective on the author and my overall thoughts.
Oh man, I guess in terms of my perspective on the author, great. It's artwork. Got some great ideas. Pretty good setup. Pretty good introductory. Something within the middle and the ending. I don't know. Problems just lie there. And I think that's the biggest thing. Prove that. Plan out story. Work out like not just your female characters, but like your other characters in terms to make them feel more relevant. I guess in a way, make it feel more meaningful. That's the other thing I want to say. And not just like one of those series like, oh man, it's really cool. It's got some great fights. Which, yeah, it does, but with a series like Naruto, you expect a lot more. You expect a lot more for the characters. Again, because Naruto, a lot of people like to dub it as the coming-of-age story, which it was in the beginning. But over time, that coming-of-age story just kind of like dwindled away, and it just became like a big, action fest, a la Transformers. That's kind of my thoughts on the perspective on the author. What about the rest of you guys?
Honestly,
I got nothing.
I mean, Kishimoto kind of showed a lot of promise. It's like, but that's the problem, It's like you get expectations. You get expectations from the guy, and then he just ends up letting you down. And
did this stream die?
Yep.
Let's see.
He ends up letting you down, and it's
It's awfully
Well,
quiet right now.
And you just you just don't want to read any of his other works that he might put out. Like, I'm not gonna read Kishimoto's newest work, but it's either he's learned his lessons or he hasn't. As much as I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, it's just...
I think we got too much into it. I tell you,
Probably.
maybe if I have 24,000 subscribers in my YouTube channel, or 24,000 subscribers on Lucky Cheese channel, or even you, Blue Star, you should host a 24-hour stream.
Oh my God.
You don't sleep at all until 24 hours is done. You have to be on camera. You have to be active. You got to do something. You either read a book, play a game, Battletoads or something, try to make it out alive.
There's not one day of the week where I cannot have Ritzy do that.
While you're at it, donate to my GoFundMe. No, seriously,
Okay.
I have a GoFundMe. Donate to it.
So, all right, but seriously, but in all seriousness, how are we gonna close this? Because
Let me close up by saying this. There's nothing that's going to fix this series unless Kishimoto really goes back and retcons a lot of stuff, and I don't think it's going to happen. Unless he wants to do a Toriyama and do a whole, like, Naruto Shippuden Super. But I doubt that's going to happen.
If he wants to.
Or
Yeah,
did what
but
the Shaman King author did, or something.
but the problem is, Boruto is a super. If not, Boruto is still going on, and there's no
End in sight.
It's like the
Right.
canon GT. That's what it is.
yeah.
No, it's not. I say it's not.
I mean, the problem is Boruto is already not Boruto. The last chapter of Naruto. It's already
Because- Well, none of this newer stuff is written by Kishimoto.
No, not Boruto case, but talk about the last chapter of Naruto. It's established that Naruto went with Hinata, got the kid, Sakura got it.
Oh, he's retconned everything else. I think he can retcon this one if he wanted to.
Sure, I guess you want to do that.
I guess overall, looking at this,
I do think Steve is dead.
No, I'm not dead. I'm very much still awake
He can't
here.
say anything. All I can say is
It's
he is
because
scratching.
all of y'all like to keep have diarrhea of the mouth, especially you,
Yeah, just
Star.
close this.
in the
I think
beginning,
everybody's out of
You
commission.
couldn't stop talking.
What?
I don't know. My money's on 4Life.
Poor Life
it's all over again.
Poor Life is a close second in terms of droning on and not.
It is good to be back with you guys, though. I miss the old days.
It's all going back full circle. It's just like the Naruto.
And you guys,
love-
What
You
Blue Star
guys-
doesn't know is we're all figments of his imagination.
Right?
Exactly.
So lesson learned here is that we found out that talking about the last or even the filler arcs will be very entertaining.
Oh yeah.
In case you guys are still listening here, you can pretty much tell how our conversation's gone from the beginning to now. For basically,
Yeah, right.
Naruto, we're in the same situation as Naruto, where
Can
at all
you
of it,
imagine?
by the end we're like,
Can you imagine this is? Can you imagine this is like recorded live where everybody could see us?
oh my god.
It's like what happened to the other two? Are they dead? Where's Steve? Where's James? Are they dead?
I think we're still
I'm still
being
here.
recorded.
Oh, okay, he's still here. I think
We're-
Steve is done.
No, I'm not done.
But with that being said, guys, as much as we would all love to be here and just ramble on about Naruto, talk about the glorious film that is The Last. Oops.
I love that movie.
Which is something we will do next time, along with the amounts of filler discussion. Okay?
And maybe we'll get chat to join us this time.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey, there's one filler we forgot to mention: the ostrich filler, the best one of them all.
Oh,
Oh, that's right. Part 2 of Shippuden fillers has some memorable moments. You're right.
I'm so happy I missed all of those.
I regret ever watching them.
Oh man.
They were cursed just like Blue Star.
Oh, that's it. I am so reading Black Clover.
No,
So, while you're at it, can you just be a Kylo Ray fan so that pairing can never happen, Blue Star? I would really appreciate that.
No, part of me wants it to happen just because it'll wind up Lucky Chi.
And on that note,
on that note, I just want to say that's pretty much it for this podcast. Blue Star, Sparda, Steve, and James making his return.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's been a blast doing this. It's really felt like the old days when we would just get on and just talk about Naruto.
Okay.
and now luckily James doesn't have to sit through hours of audio just to put up a video on YouTube.
Nope,
now-
it's me.
He's free to leave that to you, Lucky G.
So for the downside for me is I'm spending much later hours talking on a podcast.
Good luck, fucker.
That's why you should live in America, Blue Star, so that we
Oh
don't.
no, I cannot deal with the craziness that is happening on in America right now.
Okay, we're not opening that can of worms.
No, we're not. We're not going to. I guess James is like, here, Lucky Chi, you can be the new successor now.
No, that's still me.
Yeah, that you.
I'm not dead yet, motherfuckers. I'm trying to come back. Y'all act like I'm dying tomorrow. Like, who's gonna get his stuff? I got his Xbox. I got his anime.
I think the best way James can describe the situation as a third Hokage. I'm still here. Talk about me in the present time.
Jeez. Friends like you guys, who needs enemies?
He gets up.
I'm gonna leave before you guys start more trouble.
And on that note, we are all.
Although I hope to be back for more podcasts in the future, if that's okay.
That's okay.
Please.
That's fine by me.
I'd be totally up for it.
So let's hope I can make them. Anyway, I think I should say good night at this one.
Good night.
Right.
This is LK and I'm JH, also known as Steve, signing out.
Blue Star
I still can't say it.
For some Lucky Chi 7.
Sparda3g.
I'm tired. JamesSCassidy.
Later, guys.